Next on Saratoga Live, it's closing day, and fan favorite Voodoo Song, who's gone from 40 claimer to Grade 1 winner, looks to make it 6 for 6 at Saratoga. Inspector Lynley will take him on, and the Bernard Baruch, he too puts a perfect record at Saratoga on the line. The man who rode him last time in a stakes win, hopping back to Voodoo, his regular mount. Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott will try to cap off a tremendous weekend. He won with Yoshida in Woodward. He's had 3 two-year-olds win at the meet for him, his best output in 11 years. Can he get another one with Mucho, who is the heavy favorite in the Grade 1 Hopeful, our feature event here on closing day at Saratoga. Great to have you with us here on the final day of the meet. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. It is Hopeful Day. Voodoo Song back in the Bernard Baruch as well for another go. And we have tremendous weather here for the final day of the meet. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met, LA Dodger, Paula Duke, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. We've had a fun meet, guys. It's been good to work with you guys throughout these this 40 days as I lose all my notes here. Voodoo Song, we get to see him one more time here, and he is absolutely the controlling speed in the Bernard Baruch.
Well, he is, and a lot of times when you come to Saratoga, you look for horses for course. Well, he's 5 for 5 over it. They're going to have to really catch him to beat him, and he's 8 for 16 lifetime, and he's really turned into a warrior.
Yeah, I don't want to just say he's a Saratoga specialist. I think that will demean how good he really is.
Yeah.
He's just a darn good racehorse, and as you say, when you have a horse that may be the best horse, and he's the controlling speed, you've got a recipe for disaster for his competition.
Well, the top 2 finishers out of the lure coming back to face him. They ran on the same day as the 4-star Dave and Voodoo Song's win in a different race. Inspector Lynley, the winner of that race, and projected for Chad Brown.
Projected and Inspector Lynley are not horses to be reckoned with. I mean, not horses to be taken too lightly. They are solid campaigners, and both have a chance to beat Voodoo Song in here. Projected is a horse that seems to cause his own trouble, and that's why he finishes second so much more often than winning. And I've always liked Inspector Lynley, but both these horses are somewhat pace compromised by the favorite.
Yeah, you make a good point with that because he projected sometimes can hang, but I always wonder like if he's just getting beat by better horses. He's had a couple good trips, and then I've looked at some other races where he's really put his competition away. But Inspector Lynley, you know, he does like Saratoga too. He's got 2 wins in 2 races. And Shug McGay, he's having a nice meet.
Get signed up, get started, play along. On this final day of the meet, $200 new member bonus. Use the promo code, as we always tell you, Saratoga Live, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. With more on the Hopeful and these 2-year-olds in this Grade 1. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
So excited to see the Claiborne and Adele Dill-Schneider owned and bred Mucho back at the races. I remember interviewing his rider, Jose Ortiz, after, and he pulled up and said, I have found my Hopeful horse. And boy, did he, as he will go off as the favorite. As you were saying, Greg, it's been 11 years since Bill Mott's last Hopeful win, his only Hopeful win with Majestic Warrior. And that year, he took down 11 2-year-old races here at Saratoga. Mucho, his performance last time was breathtaking. It was effortless as well. Now, Bill has said that we can probably see the same effort. He doesn't have to move forward to beat this field, but it probably won't be as scintillating to the eye as this performance was in breaking his maiden. But boy, does he feel like a 2-year-old that is just good at the right time, as he will look to bring it home for his owners and breeders. All about Mucho here today, Greg.
Well, I remember when we showed his race back on August the 4th, and as we take a look at today's races, Andy Serling, I think the first words out of your mouth were, I think we just found our Hopeful favorite.
Yeah, and we do have the Hopeful favorite. Yeah. He looked like it that day. He still looks like it. He's just way the horse to beat.
Late pick 4 is what we're bringing you. Race 8 kicks it off. It's on the turf at a mile for non-winners of 2 lifetime. Voodoo Song back for more in the Bernard Baruch in that 9th, the Grade 1 Hopeful with Mucho. Race 10, and I love race 11 as a betting race to close out this sequence. It is a wide open finale we have on this card.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will either, as you see, the Piranha 5 Spray.
Do you want to take it, Paul?
Yeah. Weather track conditions presented by Piranha 5 Spray, the preferred 5 spray of Saratoga Racecourse. Piranha on, That's gone.
And that's why I read that every day. Fast on the main track.
Glad you said it.
Firm on the turf course. Thanks for taking out. Well done. We're 20 minutes away from the 8th race coming up here. So it's Saratoga Colonel who opens up as the favorite for George Weaver. Again, non-winners of 2 lifetime in this spot.
He's a heavy favorite in the doubles. I thought this was a little bit more wide open than the betting board suggests, but they're betting the 1 and the 5, the Dow, which I thought was interesting too.
Yeah, I actually, the Dow is live here. Saratoga Colonel can win this race. He's no superstar.
No,
I like the 6 horse, the pocket player. I think he's very interesting here.
Yeah, he's on the board at 11-1 for Tom Bush. There's Saratoga Colonel, though. 5-2, heavy favorite off a 7-2 morning line for trainer George Weaver.
Yeah, listen, 1 at the State Bred Maiden 40, 3 back from the 11 post. The last 2 numbers have been elevated, and he has run better. Now, I'm wondering, did he get good trips in those? He actually ran okay at Belmont. Then last time out, he just sort of gave way late. I don't know what to make of him, Andy. I really don't.
Got a very soft trip in this race. He ran fine, but he got a very soft trip. He was in against tougher horses last time out. He didn't run particularly well. He basically had a very good trip in that race, but the competition's a little bit easier today, and he drew very well on the rail. He can win this race, but he's not particularly thrilling horse as the favorite.
All right, let's take a look at what Paula Duke came up with for his pick 4. We have 400,000 plus in the pool and growing.
Well, I like the 9 and 11. If you look at 10X, I can't believe that horse is 10-1. I mean, the maiden 40 score for that horse, I get it was over the Belmont yielding course, but won by 8. The 9 was gelded 2 back, so I think that horse has got a big shot. The 1 Voodoo Song, like we talked about in the Open, going to be very, very tough to handle. The hopeful, I do like Mucho a lot, but I'm going to take a chance because the 2-year-olds can just change overnight. And then 2, 4, 5, 10 in the last. I like Lady Camille probably the best in the last to try to take that field gate to wire for Michelle Nevin.
Yeah, that one, well, the inside slot, 2 sprints on the turf now stretching out, but that is a tremendous betting race. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll have the post-parade Paddock Report here for the 8th when we come back. Still ahead, Sombaye getting ready to go postward in our feature race later today for Todd Pletcher. We'll have the rail coming off a win in the Grade 3 Sanford. Can he collect 2 2-year-old stakes at the meet? Hopeful still to come.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Phasing-Tipton July sale with a $520,000 yearling. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a 2nd time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close 2nd in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires. 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record-setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live here on closing day of the meet. It is Hopeful Day, and back in the 1972 Hopeful, that's what this race can mean to the horse racing industry. You can see your next superstar, and back in 1972, Secretariat unleashed from last to first, a 5-length victory.
He was pretty good. You know, the first Hopeful I ever saw was 2 years later, 1974. Kentucky Derby winner in 1975, Foolish Pleasure won the Hopeful. 2 years later, Affirmed and Alidar hooked up.
I didn't realize how wide he was, how long his stride was. My goodness. And there's the statue of Secretariat at the Hall of Fame. Pretty cool.
Seen some really good horses win the Hopeful. Practical Joke won it 2 years ago. Came back to win the Allen Jerkins, a Grade 1 a year later at the same distance. It's a very important race.
We will work our way towards our Grade 1 feature in a little bit. That is race 10 on the card right now. It's the 8th race coming up. And we have over $500,000 again in this pick 4 pool as we get a look at Major Attitude here for Marcus Vitale, a horse who has a couple of starts on turf at Laurel and at Delaware. 12-1 on the board. We're going to check in right now for a Paddock Report with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
And guys, I know that this horse doesn't have much to recommend on paper as far as Major Attitude is concerned, but he's the one that my eye immediately went to as he'll go first off the claim here for Marcus Vitale. And he's a big, good-looking son of Colonel John and just really well-muscled overall, too. And I like the fact he gets back on the turf. To me, physically, he's much more turf-meant in here. You're going to get a big price on him, obviously, because he just looks a bit slower on paper, but we'll see what Major Attitude can do back on the lawn. Moving on to number 5, the Dow for Jorge Abreu. Bad to saddle, but they knew that. He was actually led around with the Outrider pony while they put the tack on him. So far, so good. He really hasn't done anything wrong to the like, and he'll get back on a course that is much more firm. You'd have to think that's a bit more to his liking, and we'll see what he's able to do here. He's not the most impressive looking horse, but that's why he drops back in for a tag. Moving on to number 9, 4 Knights will look to capture a second win up here at Saratoga for Joe Sharp, and last time he was a fresh gelding, and I can see, well, I caught a glimpse of why this horse became a gelding. Gosh, he reared up and kind of went backwards and striked out at his handlers when he first walked in here. They've gotten the tack on with no problem whatsoever, but again, you know, that's a little bit in there with him. And 2, he was able to clear last time from that outside post. We'll see if he can do it again. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts on how the pace of this race looks to set up.
All right, so how do you guys see pace here in this race?
It feels like the number 10 Long Knights, of course, that could be aggressive if they decide to be aggressive. But you have to imagine that Javier Castellano is looking to leave with the 1 Saratoga Colonel. He ran his best race on the front end, and he has the coveted rail.
Yeah, and you look at the 4 coming out of some sprints. I know it's a 46-1 shot.
No, you're right.
Maybe like the 9 who was on a yielding course, but his first off the claim showed speed. And you don't really know like what a horse like the 7's going to do, getting on the turf for the first time for Charlie Baker at a big price. But, yeah, Andy's right. The 1s, I would think, can't give that position away and ran a dynamite race from the 1 hole with those tactics
even
going
the
to
2,
the front end.
Right, even the 2 Bootlegger has a lot of speed, wants to use it. And one of the things that makes these mile turf races on the inner track very tricky for handicapping is it's hard to know how they're going to be run. Because sometimes one person decides to be very aggressive, and that horse is able to get the lead. Doesn't mean they're going to win. But they're tough, they're tricky races, I find, because you'll sometimes see very random horses on the front end.
Well, probably 4 Knights being on the front end last time out was a little bit random as well for Joe Sharp.
Yeah, it's a crazy slow pace, about 4 speeds took back in there, and that was a case of that. It's hard to see him being engaged in the pace today.
Saratoga Showdown, your final chance to play it here this Saratoga meeting. Go to NYRA.com/showdown or SaratogaShowdown.com. and test your handicapping skills while you compete for real prizes that include a grand prize ticket package to next year's Belmont Stakes. Good luck, everyone. We'll take a look at the leaderboard end of the show. Jockey standings, Irad Ortiz Jr. has wrapped this thing up. Congratulations, 51 victories. Javier Castellano, Jose Ortiz, tremendous meets as well. In fact, all the top 10 have said their names a lot.
Everybody is. These guys, I mean, look at those guys. They've all ridden well. You don't get on that board unless you're riding well.
You make a great point. Like I said, at the bottom there, David Cohen, what he's gone through to be where he's at. Say right now, Jose's trying to finish second to his brother. Castellano's got one up on him, so that might be something to look forward to for the next 4 or 5 races, 4 races, excuse me.
Javier's been really, he started out with that 10-win first 4-day weekend here, and you want to parlay that. It gets tough, but he has kept it up, and obviously winning with Catholic Boy as well. A terrific meet for him. Jose
still with Mucho to come in the hopeful, and Inspector Lynley, who ran lights out in the lure, so he's got a couple of big ones still to come.
But that's Irad's second title here at Saratoga now.
Yeah, and Jose one with the 2-year-olds. 2-year-olds so important. Jose had a nice-looking 2-year-old one on earlier today. Could have a decision with that one and Mucho.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that runner a little bit later on in the show. We'll show you what happened earlier on in the card. First things first, though, trying to solve this puzzle that is the first leg of this pick 4 sequence here. It is not easy.
No, it's not, because just wherever the pace sets, like you said, wherever they're going to lay, and that's going to be very key, because there's a couple horses here and they can finish. There's a couple horses in here that might need the front end.
I'm going to try to get my man Tom Bush off the duck here. He's had a rough meet. Gary Siaka got off the duck in the last race at a price. Want to see him get off. The pocket play could run well. But you're right. I mean, one of the things that you want to try to do as a handicapper is try to figure out how's the race going to be run. Yeah. And obviously, if you're good at doing that, it makes it easier to predict who's going to win, because you'll understand where your horse is going to be and who can take advantage of it. I find these mile turf races to be very tricky, and it's one of the reasons in general I like to play horses at bigger prices, because I want to get paid if I actually guess correctly in them.
That's true.
Post parade here coming up in a moment. If we could correctly predict the pace in here, maybe this could be a lot easier for us. Gosh, we're almost at $600,000 in this pick 4 pool as we look at Sam Grossman. Again, after the finale tonight, that's it for Sam after a quarter of a century playing the call to post here on the New York Racing Association circuit. Honored him a little bit earlier on in the card as well to say goodbye. Chris Kay, president and CEO of NYRA, presented him with an encased bugle.
Saw it. It's nice.
Very nice ceremony.
Very nice.
All right, here we go. Saratoga Colonel for George Weaver. Javier Castellano kick off the post parade 5-2 favorite.
He's the legitimate favor, and getting the rail in these races is always an advantage.
Bootlegger at 8-1 for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rudy's on a little bit of a hot streak, but I don't know if this horse needs to improve or the cutback to mile is going to help him.
Major Attitude, Jose Ortiz for Marcus Vitale. Those 2 turf races at Laurel and Delaware we talked about.
Yeah, he's a little slow on those, but maybe if you like him, you're banking on him improving off the claim.
Yegos Fire 43-1 for Kim Ladati with Abel Lescano.
Well, he hasn't gone long since last year in September. In those 2 races, he did show a bit of pace into fast races. So we'll see if he shows that pace today going along.
The Dow, he is taking money 5-1 here for Jorge Abreu.
He is taking a lot of money in this race. He's a horse that's getting maybe a little bit of class relief in here. We'll see, and getting back on firm turf might help.
Pocket player, Jose Lescano, rides for Tom Bush.
Yeah, unlucky to lose 3 back, then into the Tom Bush barn. I thought ran okay 2 back. Last time just lagged, and now you're going back in for 40.
When do we run Pappy for Charlie Baker? Gets on the turf for the first time.
Really not much turf pedigree to speak of. Charlie Baker taking a shot here.
Big number, 21-1. Won't be missed is the 8-31-1. Dylan Davis for James Ferraro.
Yeah, lit up the top board last time at 48-1, breaking his maiden. Now Dylan Davis will be aboard.
4 nights, Luis Saez, Joe Sharp second off the claim.
Had everything go his own way to get it done off his maiden win last time. Perhaps he can improve off it. He will need to.
Long night, Rajiv Mirage for trainer Chad Summers.
Yeah, and this one is the son of gemologist trying the turf, and this horse really needs to improve here.
And 10 Ike on the outside for trainer Tom Morley. 2 starts back, an 8-length score at Belmont on a yielding turf course, and then tried to go against Therapist in that 3-horse field.
Yeah, obviously over his head last time out. He may need more given the ground. He didn't get an easy post, but he's not impossible.
So we know Maggie Wolfendale certainly going to be rooting for 10 Ike here on the outside. It's 7-1. Maggie right now standing by with the president and CEO of the New York Racing Association, Chris Kay.
That's right, Greg, here with Chris, and it's the last day. Can you believe we made it? 40 days, and it's been a successful one. The weather has finally cooperated with us as well.
Yes, it's been an incredible meet. I mentioned that we may very well have the second highest handle of all the meets, surpassing 2015 when we had American Pharoah here, despite the fact we had so many days with rain. I think we lost 50 turf races off the turf, and we may very well have the highest attendance ever this year. It has been an incredible meet.
And a very touching moment earlier on the card, saying goodbye to Sam the Bugler. Sam Grossman has been here for quite a while, and he will be sorely missed. Kind of a NYRA icon.
He is a NYRA icon. He was the face of NYRA. You know, when I mentioned how when I came here, I said we want to enhance the guest experience, treat people like guests. Well, Sam has been doing that for the last 25 years. It's a bittersweet moment. We're so glad he found the woman he loved for the rest of his life. They're moving to Florida, but we hope to see Sam back at various times because he's a real fan favorite. He's one of my favorites as well.
Now, we saw you dancing with your grandson in the winner's circle a couple days ago, but overall, Chris, what has been your favorite moment of this 2018 meeting?
Well, I will tell you this. I think opening day was a great day because we saw so many people come to the stretch and fall in love with it. But I also think this year's Travers was a real credit to the entire organization. We had record handle, we had almost 50,000 people here, and everything worked beautifully because of all the good work from the people in the facilities department, the racing office, the experience department, technology. Everybody did a great job.
So you mean to say that wearing the pants and doing the interview with me was not your favorite moment?
Well, it was my personal favorite moment. In fact, I'm just crushed. The Paula Duke, my favorite, is not wearing his pants today. What can I tell you?
But Mr. Greg Wolf did not let you down.
Greg is my main man.
Paul, you've been demoted over there. You hear that? Well, Chris, thank you for joining us as always.
Thank you, and I want to thank the entire NYRA TV team. You guys do a fantastic job. This was the best year yet at Saratoga. I know we'll carry it on to Belmont, but thank you, Maggie, and everybody else on the team. Been fantastic, and I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and said, we love the TV coverage. It's the best in the business.
Well, thank you, and cheers to an excellent meet. And Paul, you've been demoted.
I can't believe, I thought we were like the three amigos.
We decided to hold on to our dignity.
Yeah, it was a communication problem. See, mine are actually at the seamstress getting actually done right.
That's the story you're going with?
No, I'm sticking to it.
I feel good in these pants today.
No, you don't.
I do. I like them. I got a lot of compliments on them.
I feel good in my pants. Better than I would those.
$736,000 in this pick four pool. And my apologies, Romero Mirage on Long Night, who, by the way, was on the 8-horse, won't be missed last time out at 48-1, guiding that horse home to a winner for that one customer that hit the NYRA Bets Late Pick 5 as a single ticket.
And he moved to a different horse in this race.
Yeah.
Right?
There's
Pick
loyalty
spots,
for you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, let's take a look at the 11 here on the outside. 10 Ike, 4 Tom Morley, 6-1. And again, that maiden 40 claiming race, winning by 8 lengths on a yielding turf course. Does it say more about the field, or were you impressed by that?
I think it says something about the field. It says something about the fact that he likes a yielding turf course. And to be fair, he was so over his head last time, it's hard to really judge his last race. And if he'd drawn an inside post, I would have liked him a lot more in this race. That's just a tough post to overcome. But it's not how can you say, he can't say he's impossible here.
No, not at all. That race, 2 back crushes these. I get it. And his last race is not a bad race. Therapist is an okay horse. I'm surprised he's 6-1. But, yeah, you're getting that outside slot, and that's why. And you got to cross over and at least get a little bit of cover.
So everyone all over. Chris K coming to say hello to us.
Guy
You guys did a great job.
will do anything to get on TV.
Well, not on TV.
Closing day at Saratoga. Everyone's in a good mood on closing day.
Even my main man. Andy
Who is your main man, Chris? There's been a lot of main men throughout. We want to know definitively who it is. Okay, that's fair.
Chris K saying
So you've
his
lied
dad
about
is
all
main
three
man,
of
and that
us.
is a tremendous. Oh, we actually do have you on camera right here.
Oh.
But we don't have a microphone for you. But
and he's rubbing it in. I don't have the pants on.
It's been a tremendous
But we don't have a
summer
microphone
here.
for him because we're smart.
We're smart, yeah.
We've had a lot of fun. It's been a great meet, and we're going out with a bang here on this final day. So thanks for everything. We had a great time here.
Thank you as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Great service.
Thank
Chris,
you.
pleasure.
And we're getting close, guys, to $1 million in this late pick 4.
Yeah, we're going to have a very, very good day today, actually. It's been a terrific day, been a terrific weekend.
Yeah, it has been. The weather cooperated. Yesterday, there was a ton of people here, and again today. And the giveaway yesterday was tremendous.
And let's not
How
forget.
many did you get, Paul? Just spin?
Huh?
Keep it between
I grabbed a
keep it
couple,
yourself,
yeah.
We're getting ready to.
Christmas is coming.
We still have the Bernard Baruch with Voodoo Song. We still have the Grade 1 Hopeful. And then we're going to wrap up this meet. But next year, 1863 Club's opening.
Yes.
So more great things in store for Saratoga here next summer.
You're already going to ask for your office in the 1863 Club. You
Yeah,
better start wearing those pants every day.
Forgot to ask Chris about that. That's on. We sent him an email later.
He just left the studio. You finally found a way to get him to run out of the studio.
9-5 favorite. That is significant money here on Saratoga Colonel.
Right?
Over bet?
I don't,
yeah,
a little bit. I mean, sometimes it feels like there's almost like a magnet drawing money to favorites, right? It just keeps coming in at the end. I guess he's the worst to beat. 8-5. There you go. I'm sticking with my boy Pocket Player, who just got completely dragged out of the race by breaking a step slow last time. And Ferran Giroux, one of the reasons he struggled here. I mean, obviously you have to get the right mounts, but he didn't have great position in a lot of races. And you've got to get position. I'm hoping Jose Lezcano, who you know is going to have good position with Voodoo Song in the next race, I'm hoping he can get him into slightly better position today. I think it'll make a difference in his performance.
The key horse is the 5 here. That horse is getting
He
bet.
is getting bet.
He has continued to get bet, and I'm wondering, after those 2 races, you can't really bet him. I wonder if he really wants that firm turf.
Here we go. Let's head it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call. It's the start of our final pick 4 of the meet. Here's Larry Colmus.
Long Night has moved into the starting gate. 10 Ike completes the line here. Comes forward and in. They're all in line. They're off, and Bootlegger started the best. Saratoga Colonel sent along by Javier Castellano to be close up. And there goes 4 Knights to the outside, followed by Long Night Pocket Player. And to the outside comes Won't Be Missed as they make their way to that first turn. And then a break of another 2 to the Dow, and then Jago's Fire to the inside, 10 Ike on the far outside, Major Attitude, and When Do We Run Pappy at the back of the field. It's Bootlegger on top as they make their way toward the backstretch, the leader by 3/4 of a length. On the outside, 4 Knights up into second through a 24.46 opening quarter mile. And they're followed in third by Saratoga Colonel, who sits just in behind the pace setters. Long Night is fourth on the outside. Won't Be Missed follows in fifth. Then Pocket Player, the Dow, and 10 Ike on the outside. Jago's Fire's got 10 lengths to make up. When Do We Run Pappy is next, and Major Attitude is the trailer, continuing through the first half in 48.98 seconds. Luis Reyes and Bootlegger out there in front as they make their way for the far turn. 4 Knights running in second. Long Night is third on the outside into the far turn. Then Saratoga Colonel, Won't Be Missed. Break of another 2. Then Pocket Player on the inside of the Dow and a 3 wide 10 Ike. Jago's Fire is next. When Do We Run Pappy and Major Attitude. They're at the top of the stretch, and Bootlegger's still there. Bootlegger turns for home with a 2.5 length lead. 4 Knights is second. Saratoga Colonel trying to pick him up in third. Pocket Player fourth. Furlong to run. Bootlegger to catch. Bootlegger by 4. Here comes Pocket Player. Storming down the center with Saratoga Colonel. Can Bootlegger hold off Pocket Player? Here's the wire. Bootlegger does it. Pocket Player was second. Saratoga Colonel was third. Photo for fourth. Maybe Jago's Fire alongside of the Dow.
Bootlegger and Rudy Rodriguez is having a tremendous finish to this meet.
He really is. Like the last couple, he had a beat yesterday where the 10 went to the front end and got looped, and Bootlegger went to the front end. Luis Reyes was aggressive. Great pick by you, Andy. Pocket Player needs about another 10 yards when you get home.
He needed somebody else to try to go to the lead besides allowing a guy to crawl in the front end. But, you know, we talked about it beforehand. That's why these races are difficult, and that's why you see prices in these mile races. It's tough to know who's going to go to the lead, and in this case, I credit Luis Reyes and Rudy Rodriguez for coming up with the plan. He's a horse that has a lot of speed. They used their speed early. They got position. They backed it down, and everybody else was behind the 8 ball. A terrific ride by him, and gets the job done with Bootlegger.
Last week and a half or so at this meet, Rudy Rodriguez, he's been one of the hottest trainers around. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And I would have to say, great job by Luis Reyes here, Rudy. I mean, he won last year on... There you go. Why didn't you put him on sooner?
No, I was not looking at the racing one, I guess.
Well, job well done by him. You know, recognizing that speed's so dangerous here, and this race was crying out for somebody to go to the lead. Was that your instruction?
Tell him, yes, get him out of there, and hopefully we can hold on, and thank God we did.
And this is a horse that is dropping out of some competitive starter allowances as well, and kind of getting back on track here today.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just speechless.
That doesn't happen often. Well, you've had a pretty good meet, Rudy. Are you staying up here to grow your beard, or are you coming back to Belmont?
Working on now. Tomorrow I start.
All right, Rudy, we'll enjoy this last one here at Bootlegger.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll probably see Rudy back at Belmont with the beard because he grows it when we leave here at Saratoga.
Well shaven for Saratoga, and then let it on out for the winner to keep warm.
Tell you what, he's been on fire of late. He's riding around. There's his son. He is really, really cool dude, Rudy. He's always messing around with me, and I just tell him, you know what? Your son's way better looking than you. Just be quiet. But he's always a good guy to talk to, and he's always around the fans a lot, you know?
Had a 50-1 shot when, was it earlier this week?
Yeah, blue belt, right?
Yep. Got a monster number. Bootlegger gets it done here at 9-1. So 2-6-1-4. Wow, 86-1 shot completing the superfecta in this race. We'll be back with prices in just a moment. Our main events coming up next, including, there he is, Voodoo Song, and the Grade 2 Bernard Baruch putting that perfect 5-for-5 record here at Saratoga on the line. He is the lone speed, the one to catch. Can he do it one more time at Saratoga? We'll find out. The Grade 2 Bernard Baruch still to come.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Nice has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice Ellis. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Back on Saratoga Live, and you can get your picture taken with a Triple Crown trophy that was commissioned by Chris Kay. Had Roberto Santo create that beautiful work of art, and immediately it got put to use with Justify winning the Triple Crown, and all benefits when you do get your picture taken with this trophy going to Toys for Tots.
Really, really cool idea. We live in the selfie world, and go get your picture taken with the Triple Crown trophy. Cool stuff.
Bootlegger, Luis Reyes, Rudy Rodriguez, and EV Racing Stable, $21.60 here to start off the late pick four.
Yeah, son of Mr. Sydney of the Anaba mare trading. Pretty clever name, Bootlegger. Now 2 for 14, and how about both wins here at Saratoga?
Do you know that Mr. Sydney, to sire this horse, cost almost $4 million, $3.9 million. He won a watered-down Grade 1 on the turf, in a soggy turf course at Keeneland.
Yeah.
Then he stood at stud in France before coming back here.
How about this Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along? Just shy of $300,000 in the pool, $21 to start it off. So really doesn't matter what even happens the rest of the way. It's going to be decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to get it home. So you got to get it home now, especially with those two horses. Cecilia Mike, who won the first race, was 1 for 27 coming in.
So one of our big ones coming up next. Grade 2, Bernard Baruch. Voodoo Song, 1 to 5 on the board. We knew we weren't going to get 6 to 1, but boy, has the value dissipated with this horse. You win a Grade 1, and all of a sudden, everyone knows who you are.
Listen, he's the horse to catch. He's the best on numbers. There's other horses here that, yeah, can't compete with him, but he's won races when he hasn't had it his own way on the front end. I just think they're going to be really, really up against it when he's going to have it his way on the front end.
And I think it's important to note that while he's been running it strictly a mile recently, his races last year were longer distances. In fact, one of them was a mile and 3/8. So the fact that he's going a 16th a mile more than the four-star Dave should not be a problem for him.
Yeah. In fact, one here at Grade 3, the Saranac, at a mile and an 1/8. So he can certainly get it done at longer distances. Here's a look at Mucho, the one to beat in the Grade 1 hopeful. His maiden score for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. The son of Blame was sensational here on this racetrack on August the 4th. Can he back it up in a Grade 1 field? The hopeful still to come.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer by Tapit has become one of the nation's leading sires of 2-year-olds. Ranked #1 in his crop by number of winners, he sired 11 stakes horses in 2017, including graded stakes winners Wild Shot and Oklahoma Derby winner Untrapped. At the sales, his yearlings have sold up to $480,000. Trap Shot, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Voodoo Song comes to the final furlong with a 5-length. Voodoo Song comes to the final furlong with a 5-length lead. They're all way behind Voodoo Song. Voodoo Song's gonna win it and win it clear under the wire. It is Voodoo Song and Jose Lezcano, and they come to the 8th pole. Voodoo Song by 3. Vintage Matters trying to cut into the gap late. He's closing, but the wire's coming up soon. Voodoo Song, Vintage Matters running out of time. Voodoo Song holds on. Coming to the top of the stretch here, Voodoo Song turning for home in front by 3. Voodoo Song has opened up to lead by 4, but it is Voodoo Song to win it by a length and a half. Voodoo Song confronted by Bricks and Mortar, and Voodoo Song responds. Voodoo Song has responded to this challenge, opens up once again to lead by a length. Bricks and Mortar made a run at him, but Voodoo Song opens up by 2. Voodoo Song's got another furlong to run. He's got a 2-length lead. Voodoo Song by 2. Yoshida coming. Voodoo Song. Here comes Yoshida. Here comes the wire. Voodoo Song loves the Spa. Spa-loving Voodoo Song, who scampers off to lead by 3 lengths onto the backstretch. Voodoo Song turning for home in front. Voodoo Song digs in. Delta Prince can't get by. Is he gonna do it? He is. Voodoo Song won the 4-star Dave.
From $40,000 claimer to Grade 1 winner in the 4-star Dave, he truly has started to become the modern day 4-star Dave. You look at what he has done and at what prices you have gotten, getting nothing close to that this afternoon on this remarkable horse.
Good parlay.
I booked him actually in all 5 of those races. That's why I'm working.
There he is, Jose Lezcano, back aboard for Linda Rice and owned by Barry Schwartz. Voodoo Song gave Barry Schwartz his first Grade 1 win ever at Saratoga with that 4-star Dave. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And Barry is intently watching his charge in here in Voodoo Song. And Barry, let's just flash back to that 4-star Dave. Obviously coming in here with that undefeated record over the Saratoga turf course. Going back and going into the race, how nervous were you? Were you expecting him to run as well as he did?
Well, I expect him to run well, but you know, when there's not as much pressure on you when you're 6-1 as when you're 3-5 or 2-5. We were very excited about the race because he had trained so well, and I really thought he had a big shot to win it, and he didn't disappoint.
As far as the wagering is concerned, he's almost like the Rodney Dangerfield of this division in a way, but he's certainly earned his way into favoritism today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And especially because you've bred this horse as well. Does that make it extra special?
Sure, I mean, it's like homebreds are just the greatest part of the game.
And talk about his development. Obviously, Linda Rice has really gotten him to blossom, and she discovered that being on the lead isn't quite a bad thing for Voodoo Song.
I love front-running turf horses. I've said it many times before. Everybody wants to, take them back and make one run. I want to be on the lead. Let them come and catch me.
Obviously, today is a hurdle, but have you thought about the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile at all with him?
Certainly. I mean, if he runs well today, and we're fortunate enough to have a good race in the Shadwell Mile, then obviously the Breeders' Cup would be the goal of the year.
Well, Barry, it's also fun because he's a fan favorite. Whether you realize that or not, people absolutely love this horse.
Well, they stop me all the time here. They used to stop me for other things, back in the day when I was chairman. But now it's all about, hey, Voodoo, how's he doing? I get it all the time walking through the stands here.
Well, he's one of our favorites on the show, Barry. Wishing you the best of luck in this Bernard Baruch.
Thanks so much. Thanks very much.
And Barry, we'll have to get Cheryl after the race. Hopefully, it's without her shoes as she will walk him in from the winner's circle.
There is Voodoo Song. It's, just such a remarkable story what this horse accomplished. 4 wins in the span of the 40-day meet last summer, something that had not been done since the 1950s. comes back here, wins a Grade 1. He just keeps, as he's doing it and winning all these races here, just keeps overachieving every single time.
Yeah, and as he became a 4-year-old, he just got better and better with progression. And Linda's been able to, like Maggie was alluding to, get this horse to now settle a little bit better. He can win on the front end. He's shown that he can rate. I thought he was even giant in the poker. You could argue that was his best race when he was dueling in 108-1, but I don't even really think he needs to do that in here, and that's why he's 2-5.
He's just turned into a terrific racehorse. Why, you know, he obviously runs very well at Saratoga, but almost maybe timing in some ways. I mean, this year has been sensational, and that's why, you know, somebody says, well, I don't think he's a legitimate contender for the Breeders' Cup Mile. And that's a long way away, and he's got to prove it in other situations because he only runs well at Saratoga. They're ignoring what he's done at Belmont Park. He is just a very, very good horse.
Well, he'll have to deal with this one today. Inspector Lynley, his jockey Jose Lescano was filling in for Jose Ortiz, who was away for Arlington Million Day when this horse won the Lure on the same day. Voodoo Song won the 4-Star Dave. And this was a big effort. His connections thought he was sitting on a huge race. He did not disappoint.
You could see the cut in the ground, a ton of cut in the ground. That's what he's not going to get today. So did that make the difference for this run? Where he just exploded or not? I don't think so. No. He's run some good races on fast tracks. He's 2 for 2 over this strip. So he's the one that can upset Voodoo Song.
He's always been a talented runner. I mean, he's just been unlucky with some trips, and I think he's really put it together this year. He should have won the Wise Dan. He got a lousy trip in that race. His second by a nose to Made You Look. And if you lose by a nose, it could easily have been a victory. So there's a way he could win his last 3 races. Now, his running style is compromised by Voodoo Song. So not only does he have to beat a horse like Voodoo Song, but he's got to do it against a horse who has a big tactical advantage on him. That's the disadvantage. But I think Inspector Lynley's a very solid racehorse.
Meanwhile, projected Chad Brown, Juddmonte Farms, and Javier Castellano will be aboard. He was right behind Inspector Lynley. He chased Voodoo Song in the Forbidden Apple, and apparently he has been working heads up with Robert Bruce.
The one from Braveheart or the horse that won the Arlington Million?
Yeah, right.
Because if it's the one from Braveheart, I'm throwing him right out. This is a good horse, too. And the one thing that he has over Inspector Lynley, he can probably be a little more forward here. And I got to think that Javier and Chad Brown are thinking, let's try to get the pocket behind. Hold that position behind Voodoo Song. So at least we have a chance to run him down if he doesn't run his best race. Because Forge can go too early. But I don't see Javier Castellano giving up that position. And that may give him an edge over Inspector Lynley because he can be more forward.
Yeah, you make... Well, I get where you're going there, but 2 back, man. He couldn't go by him in the Forbidden Apple. They went so fast and projected sort of...
Slow pace, though, that day. Very firm turf course.
He does have
slow
10
pace.
seconds. That's my worry.
Yeah,
he
I
likes
agree.
To hang a tiny bit.
I agree. I don't like the seconds. I'm not saying he's going to win. We're talking about scenarios where he could win.
Yeah.
Of course, earlier in the week, Chad Brown got his record-breaking 41st winner. This is the final horse he's going to send out here at the Saratoga meeting. He stands at 46 wins for the meet.
A friend of mine said to me earlier today, Chad keeps making it harder for himself. The more races he wins, the harder it will be for him to break a record in the future. He's got 46 now.
A little unlucky not to have 42nd. Bacchanalia had a little bit of a rough trip. That's a horse that you know I want to pay attention
we
to.
can't ever say that because he got put up via double DQ.
Oh, sure.
So
yeah, I agree. I agree.
He's had
been
his
put
share
up twice, but when you get put up from 3rd, that's very lucky.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how projected runs here this afternoon. Certainly a contender at 7-2. Here's Forge for Bill Mott. Of course, he'll have the favorite Mucho in the hopeful. And Forge on the board at 15-1 right now. He chased Inspector Lynley and projected, and he was 4th behind them in the Lure.
I actually think he ran okay in that race because the pace totally fell apart, which helped the aforementioned 2 and worked against him. We talked about, though, with him last time. He's got that every other pattern, right? If you look at his Beyer figures, he seems to run well every other races. And if you actually believe that, today will be a drop back, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, right?
Yeah, I was looking at him going, yeah, I think he's a better horse. Maybe he ran 2nd in this race last year behind Heart to Heart, who's sort of a front runner like Voodoo Song, not that much speed. But he might like a little bit more cut in the ground. And there was a little bit of light rain, but I don't think it did anything to the turf course.
It's time for a Paddock Report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It is brought to you, of course, by Hillendale Farm, now standing curling for $150,000.
Greg, thank you. And we have 15 minutes here to this Bernard Baruch, and we'll check in with your current favorite and Voodoo Song as he is like a boxer that comes into the ring. His eyes get all big, he gets on his toes, he's on the muscle, he's tugging at his groom, and I love that about him. He just wants to get into a fight, and those are my favorite types of racehorses. And again, much the same as going back to the 4-star Dave. His coat, his weight, everything looks great, and he's really kind of mastered that this year. Physically, I prefer him more this year than I ever did last year when he was on that torrid streak. Moving on to number 2, Projected, and as you guys mentioned, has been working with the Arlington Million winner in Robert Bruce. Now, Projected holding his own, but you can tell once they cross the line that Robert Bruce is a lot more full of run, but that's to be expected. Robert Bruce is a type that runs a mile and a quarter, mile and a half, so a mile and a 16th is ideal for Projected here. The thing is, though, is that 22 starts, 10 seconds. Doesn't always love to win, but once again, physically, he looks tremendous here in the paddock. I really like what I'm seeing from him. See if he can turn the tables on both Inspector Lynley and Voodoo Song. Then a wild card on the outside is number 6, Curbon, for Kieran McLaughlin. First time here in the States, his son of Speightstown, getting Lasix as well, and coming off of a layoff. And really, Kieran's one of those guys that sometimes his horses, they definitely look as though they need a start. Not really with this horse. And 2, I like this distance as well with him. Yes, the jury's kind of out as where his talent stands, especially in the face of the aforementioned 1 and 2 in here, but is making a super appearance here in the paddock for his first time here in Saratoga. Greg?
And this will be his 5-year-old debut as well for Corbon. 10-1 on the board. But this race, all about that one horse who just left our screen, Voodoo Song. There he is, 1-2. He's 5 for 5 on the turf at Saratoga, trying to win his 3rd consecutive start. He won the Forbidden Apple at Belmont in July. Grade 1, 4-star Dave for those owners right there. The Schwartzes gave them her first ever Grade 1 win at this historic racetrack. Can they get the Bernard Baruch as well with this fan favorite? We'll be back.
Once again, among the world's leading sires of stakes horses and graded stakes horses, Warfront has sired 8 champions and 8 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include European champion U.S. Navy Flag and Lancaster Bomber, plus an ever-growing list of 2018 graded stakes winners. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to bring prices well over $1 million. International Super Sire Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a 2nd time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close 2nd in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
I've been coming here for 40 years.
39 years.
30 years. I remember when I was a kid, I stood in this exact spot. I was standing right next to Seattle Saloon. Take a look. It's beautiful.
Love it, love it, love it. Been coming here for the last, 5 years? Awesome.
We come here every year. It is one of the most exciting days that we all spend together as a group.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful place. I feel like at home here.
Back on Saratoga Live, and we got back-to-back graded stakes races here on this final day of the Saratoga meeting. The Grade 2 Bernard Baruch coming up here with the great Voodoo Song, who has become an absolute fan favorite. He has never lost in 5 tries at Saratoga, and all those wins coming over the last 2 summers here. Can he collect a 6th? He is 3-5 on the board, trying to do so with Jose Lezcano back in the irons.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forgetting the Saranac. Look who he beat last year. Yoshida, who won in the Woodward Saturday.
Incredible.
On the dirt. Yeah.
Post Parade brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, visit OCDpellets.com. So here is Voodoo Song, owned by Barry Schwartz, trained by Linda Rice, and Jose Lezcano rides.
Controlling speed, recent Grade 1 winner, 5 for 5 at Saratoga. Way the horse to beat.
Projected will try and give Chad Brown his 47th winner of this meet. Javier Castellano aboard for Juddmonte Farms.
Second best to Inspector Lynley and Voodoo Song the last 2 times, but he shows up 16 for 22 in the exacta.
Another Juddmonte runner, trained by Hall of Famer Bill Mott in Forge with Manny Franco.
In theory, he's the one who could be the closest to Voodoo Song early, which could help his chances.
13-1 on the board. The 5. Inspector Lynley for the Phipps stable, and Stuart Janney, trained by Shug McGahee with Jose Ortiz.
A talented runner, but his closing running style could be compromised by the way the race is run.
And Corbon making his States debut for Shadwell stable. Kieran McLaughlin trains with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Obviously the wild card in here, debuts with Lasix here in North America, and was 4th in a race 2-back in Turkey. You don't really see that very often.
There is a look at Forge, 13-1 on the board. Going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale, standing by with a Hall of Fame trainer.
That's right, here with Bill Mott as he'll send out the British bred Forge in here. And Bill, a horse that finished 4th last time with Inspector Lynley and Projected. And do you feel as though he's a horse that's kind of better if he takes back and makes that one run?
Well, interesting race. I mean, we have one speed horse, and the rest of the field all seems to be stalker types, the same kind of running style that we've got. So I wouldn't be surprised if, somebody's going to have to be laying second. I wouldn't be surprised if it was us. As long as he's there and he's comfortable, I think that's probably good. It's an interesting race. What everybody's gonna do. If anybody will take a break well enough to go with that horse, I don't see anybody on paper.
I know a 5-horse field always leads to a bit of a jockey's race, that's for sure. But you are dealing with a bigger field, and the next one coming up in the Grade 1 Hopeful, and you will send out the favorite in Mucho, and a horse that blew their socks off last time.
He was very impressive. I mean, he's been, he's a colt that had trained well. Very smooth, very easy horse to train, good disposition. He came back in his 2nd start and probably ran better than I even knew he could. You know what I mean? We liked his first race, thought he'd move forward, and it was no surprise that he won, but, the way he did it, I mean, he looked really good the last 1/8 of a mile of his race. I mean, he drew away from the field and looked good. Of course, we're stepping up in class today. We're stepping up in company. There's some horses with a little more experience and horses that have won, so he's got to prove himself. Today's will be another step for him.
Well, I was going to ask you, is it the competition more so, or does the distance play on your mind, and who would you be scared of?
Well, across the board, I think, it's an evenly matched field. I don't think we've got, all but one horse. Everybody else one horse is coming out of a stake, and everybody's coming out of maiden races. So, I think everybody's trying to figure out what they've got, us included, and we've got a great post. We got a nice long run down the back stretch, having an outside post, and, he can, tuck in whenever he feels he needs to. So, there shouldn't be a rush leaving the gate, to make any quick moves with him. I guess just hopefully he stays up close enough to the pace and, has some run left when he turns for home.
Certainly an exciting horse for longtime clients of yours in Claiborne Farm, and Adele Dilschneider. Looking forward to him, and best of luck here with both of your runners.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see what Bill and his rider, Jose Ortiz, can come up with in the next 2 stakes.
All right, so Forge for Bill Mott coming up in the Bernard Baruch, the 3-horse, and the 1 to beat in the Grade 1 Hopeful, the 7-horse Mucho. Welcome to Saratoga Live. Great to have you on board for closing day of the premier race meet in the country. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Greg Wolf, Paula Duke, Andy Serling. We have Maggie Wolfendale with us as well. And appropriate that we have maybe the most popular horse on the grounds competing here on the closing day of the meet in the Great Voodoo Song. He is undefeated on the turf here in 5 tries at Saratoga, trying to collect a 6th here in the Bernard Baruch.
He's so popular because he likes to flaunt his speed early, and he likes to open up early. And I know this is only a 5-horse field, Andy, and he's the only speed in here. And I would think Jose Lezcano is just going to let him roll from the beginning.
Yeah, it would be a mistake to actually try to harness his speed. He's been best when they've used his speed as a weapon, and that's what he does. And we've got 2 very exciting races coming up between Voodoo Song and Mucho, who's kind of as impressive a 2-year-old we've seen so far at Saratoga. And that Saratoga meet is so much about the 2-year-olds.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And the Grade 1 hopeful is going to be sensational. Grade 1 in that 10th race. You can play these races by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. You get a $200 new member bonus when you use the promo code Saratoga Live to bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to NairaBets.com or download that Naira Bets app to take advantage. So 1-2 on Voodoo Song, trying to win a 3rd consecutive start. And he collected the first Grade 1 win of his career last time out on the 4-star Dave. He went so fast up front, and he was still able to hold off Grade 1 competition in doing so. It was one of the best performances we've seen from him. But here is a look at Inspector Lynley coming out of a victory in the Lure. And if he can move forward off that performance, does Voodoo Song have to be scared here?
Well, yeah, I mean, he'd have to run a lot better, but he'd also have to overcome a pace disadvantage. So he's got it's a double whammy for him. He's got to run a little bit better, and he's got to do it while not getting the race to run in a manner that's beneficial to him, and it's going to be run in a manner that's beneficial for the favorite. So that makes his job very tough. But Inspector Lynley's a very good horse.
How many lengths do we expect to see Jose Lezcano open up here early on this field?
Well, I would think raw speed, he can open up 8 to 10 if he wants, but I would think he's going to be around 5, Andy, somewhere in that area. When you think?
Yeah, I would have thought about 2.5 to 3. We'll see. I mean, it's hard to know. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough call.
But if they wanted to,
he could have a lot more distance if he wanted.
He could have whatever he wants, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, he opened up 5 lengths on Grade 1 competition at a mile in the 4-star Dave. Very early on in that group as we look at projected in here. And I guess projected, a little bonus for him is he does get 4 pounds on Voodoo Song.
I don't think you want to take any horse too much out of his game, but I have to think that Javier Castellano and Chad Brown are thinking their best chance is the fact that they have a post just outside of Voodoo Song and to try to stick at least within hailing distance of him and maybe try to sit in that pocket second. We'll see if they can.
Yeah. Someone like Bill was telling Maggie, someone's going to have to sit in that second slot, and that could be Murderer's Row, because if you have to chase Voodoo Song at a breakneck pace, you're in trouble. But if it's a comfortable pace, maybe that's where you want to sit today. And maybe, you know, Lezcano was thinking, oh, hey, shorter field, I can get away for like some slower fractions early.
Let's check in again with Maggie Wolfendale.
And just want to touch on Bill Mott's charge in here, and that is number 3, Forge, as he will, as Bill said, and possibly be in that stalking position behind Voodoo Song. And he was sharp. Boy, when he left the paddock, he looked like a Trojan horse, just kind of breathing fire. He is very handsome, so I'm always going to be appealed by his appearances here. But we'll see what he does. As you guys were mentioning, could be detrimental to his cause, but you couldn't ask one to look any better than what Forge does as they are circling just before heading onto the turf course, Greg.
Now, no one going against Voodoo Song here in this spot, and it's just such a tremendous pace advantage that he has laying over this field. He literally could open up by any amount he wants here early on.
Yeah, like when you go back to his race when he won going 7, he's gone 107, 108, 108 and change. You look at these other horses in here, Forge maybe can go that fast on some of these kind of fractions, but they're going to have to be used to stay up with him. And that's what Andy's saying. When you're used early, you have nothing late. And that's what Voodoo Song weapon is. He takes the heart out of you early.
No, that's why he can use his speed as a weapon. I mean, that's the whole point of it. And you can't stay too close. And that's why he shouldn't go too slowly. Because if he goes too slowly, he starts playing the other horse's game. Play his game. His game has led him to some pretty big wins.
So that last start, 4-star Dave, I mean, you have to run harder at a mile, don't you, for the entire running of the race?
Yeah, and especially don't forget, he wanted to run away from Heart to Heart, who's a confirmed speed type.
Yeah.
So he had a horse he wanted to get away from. So yeah, for sure. I mean, you'd think that track was good, and it was not like firm to good. It was probably good to yielding. 23-2, that's like 22-4. Don't forget, it's not like Belmont Park where they're running down a straightaway. They're running around a turn as well.
Loading up for the Grade 2, Bernard Baruch, the one horse, the rail for Voodoo Song, putting that perfect 5-for-5 Saratoga turf mark on the line. Coming off a Grade 1 win, can he do it again for the Schwartzes and Linda Rice? Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. They're off in the Bernard Baruch. And there goes Voodoo Song. And Projected is close to him early on. Forge will sit back in third. Corbin is fourth. And Inspector Lynley trails as Voodoo Song kicks on. Heads into that clubhouse turn, doing what he likes. Running on the lead here at Saratoga. Opening up to lead by 2.5 lengths. Projected is second. With Forge in third early on. Corbin is 6 lengths from the front. Inspector Lynley at the back of the pack. So onto the backstretch he goes. And it's Voodoo Song through a 24.13 opening quarter mile. An easy early tempo. On top here by 3 lengths. Projected is second by 2 over Forge in third. Corbin is fourth. Inspector Lynley is 9 lengths off of Voodoo Song, who continues his journey up the backstretch in the Bernard Baruch with a 4-length lead. Projected is running in second position. The half mile was 47.89 seconds. And then it's Forge running along in third as they get a bit closer. Corbin is next. Inspector Lynley is only 4.5 lengths off the lead as Jose Lezcano trying to slow things down here with Voodoo Song. He's letting his competition edge up. And now Projected is just 3/4 of a length off of him as they round the far turn. Then Corbin on the outside of Forge and Inspector Lynley trails. Voodoo Song is on top here, but he's got some competition. Projected ranges up alongside. Corbin comes up to them 3 wide. Forge in behind the leaders and Inspector Lynley. And now Voodoo Song has lost the lead. Projected has taken over, and Voodoo Song has thrown in the towel. And here's Corbin on the outside. Corbin and Projected and Corbin. Forge splitting those two, trying to find a seam late. The 3 of them will hit the wire into Bernard Baruch, and they were across the track. Corbin on the outside, Forge between, and Projected. A 3-way photo in the Bernard Baruch.
3-way photo, and Voodoo Song not part of it at all. It might have been Corbin here.
Now that, you ever want to overlook horses that prepped in Turkey for races at Saratoga, and odd race. I mean, they didn't go that fast early with Voodoo Song there, but you can't blame that. He had no answer whatsoever, and it felt like the winner was going to be Chad Brown, who's won so many races here, and Projected, who was holding off Corbin the whole stretch. But guys, Corbin nailed him in the last stride, didn't he, Paul?
I think he did. I think he drilled him in the last side. The 3 in-between horses, Forge is starting to run too. Yeah, the 6 physically is in front here as Irad Ortiz Jr. jumps on. Like I was saying, 2 starts ago was 35 cents in the dollar in Turkey in a synthetic race and beats Voodoo Song, who runs dead last year. Hopefully everything is okay at 3-5. But if you have this horse in your pick 5, and again, mandatory payout or pick 6, wow.
He used the prestigious Pries Andre Baboen as the prep for the see if that's ever happened before, Greg.
Just not what we're used to seeing from Voodoo Song. It is the 6 here put up. Corbin, Forge, Projected, run 1, 2, 3. Dead last is Voodoo Song, and usually we see him open up such a big advantage, and then horses have to try and come get him. He was not able to do that this afternoon.
He wasn't, he opened up on the backside, and then Jose, when he started asking him, he, staved off Projected, and there is the photo. And kudos to Kieran McLaughlin. You got to give, sometimes you got to tip your cap. This horse has not run in almost a year to October and comes here and wins at Saratoga, and it's a pretty flashy time in 140 on the dot.
Oh, they ran. They ran.
Another look around the turn, widest of everybody. You beat the great Voodoo Song. You beat Chad Brown. you beat Shug McGahee, you beat Bill Mott in a turf race.
Right?
Amazing. I mean, this is.
What are the chances that
this is a big upset?
Voodoo
Here's a
Song
question for you: is anyone going to have 5 in the Naira Bets late pick 5?
I'm thinking no.
What were the chances that you could have made a bet that Inspector Lynley and Voodoo Song would run last and second to last?
Yeah, that's incredible
Right?
here. This one, a head-scratching performance, but Corbin, big effort in his States debut. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with Kieran McLaughlin and Corbin upsetting the field here. Kieran, stateside debut for the son of Spitestown. Were you expecting this?
No, but he's trained very well, very nice horse. We're just happy to have him in the barn, and Irad rode a great race.
How about prepping in Turkey before this? You don't often see that.
No, you don't. So I'm thankful to have the horse, and he's a nice horse, and he has a bright future.
I would say so. So keeping him here in the States, that is the plan, right?
Yes, for sure.
All right, Kieran, we'll enjoy this win here in the Bernard Baruch.
Thank you very much.
All right, this guy, well, he's found a new home here, and the colors are red, white, and blue. Well, white and blue of Shadwell.
Farthest outside of everyone in a 3-way duel, and it's Corbin. We'll see if he could build off this effort. That was a good group that he beats. Kieran McLaughlin, he's had a couple of talented 2-year-old runners here at this meet. And now a 5-year-old son of Spitestown, who had, by the way, never won on the turf before.
Kentucky bred, how about that? Out of a Zeiton mare, flip-flop. That pick 3 came back $1,900 for your Naira late pick 5. And if Mucho somehow gets beat in the next race,
you might be alive for 4.
Yeah, you could be.
There is a look at Mucho for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. Well, we just showed you anything can happen here. The graveyard of favorites strikes again. Will it happen in the hopeful? Mucho will be the one to beat in the Grade 1 for 2-year-olds up next.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires. 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and horse of the year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Saratoga Live. Well, the Bernard Baruch Grade 2 in the books, and it was a bit of an upset here with Corbin as Irad Ortiz in the irons. And Irad, you told me quite an interesting little tidbit. This horse, they tried to get into an allowance race, and you mentioned Invisor as this guy takes down the Bernard Baruch today. I mean, they were pretty high on it, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they really like the barn and Karen. It was exciting to have this horse on the barn, and I know when they really like a horse, it's because they know what they have, and he's a nice horse. He showed today that he's available to run against some nice horses in this country. So I'm excited. Hopefully he stay healthy, and we can run those big races.
And kind of interesting, full circle type of thing, as Kieran McLaughlin gave you your first Grade 1 win in Alabama with questing. Also, it was, 6 years ago, and you did your first interview with me on national television. Irad, you've come a long way.
Yes, it's never easy. It's a long way, and hopefully we will get better and better every year. Thanks God, thanks the owner and trainer for the opportunity. My agent do a good job. And yes, I rode for Kieran, and he was the first one to give me a big opportunity on a Grade 1 in questing. She was a nice filly. She won the coaching club, then she won the Alabama, and he left me on the horse, on the filly. Thanks him for all the confidence that he had on me from the first day.
And also everybody else that has gotten you here too. Obviously you've gotten here yourself, but your second Saratoga meet title, I mean, quite an accomplishment for such a young man.
It's so exciting, being here and win the title. It's always, make me happy. And, I got a lot of support from my family, owners and trainers, all of them from the claiming horses and top horses, Chad, Todd, Karen, they all, I don't say all the names, but they all help me. They all call me to try to ride me. So I'm very lucky to have those guys to give me the opportunity to be out there riding for them.
Well, it's a lot of fun watching you too, Irad. Congrats here, and keep things rolling into the next few. You've definitely earned it.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, guys, Irad Ortiz, it's been quite a treat watching this guy grow up, and he was here from when I started too, so quite a transformation to a top rider that he is today.
112 wins at Belmont and Saratoga combined over the last two meets.
He's riding well.
Corbin, $28 for the win. That results in a $1,974 pick 3. Congratulations to Shadwell Stable, Kieran McLaughlin, and Irad Ortiz Jr.
Yeah, like we were talking about, Son of Spice on a Zeitenmare flip-flop. Now, 6 for 14 lifetime. And your pick 5 follow along. If you're live, you're going to like this graphic.
And I would suggest Corbin, $28 winner, played more like a $50 winner.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. I would think if the 7 gets beat here at Mucho, you're going to see some more
definitely 4 or 5 will pay. Keep in mind, it pays today. It doesn't, there's no carryover. So it's a possibility if you have 4 or 5 that you could hit, you'll get paid today.
Last day of the meet, mandatory payout. So we'll see what happens. Don't rip those tickets up. Grade 1 hopeful, our feature coming up next. 4 2-year-olds and Mucho, the one undoubtedly to beat in this spot. He is even money off that sensational maiden special weight victory back on August the 4th. We'll have the post parade coming up momentarily. Here's a look at Nitrous. He is quick. He showed that speed here at Saratoga when he broke his maiden on opening weekend for trainer Steve Asmussen, Winchell Thoroughbreds, and Ricardo Santana Jr. We will have a Paddock Report and post parade for the hopeful when we come back.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief, laboring Vector in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and other regional networks across the country. Good to be with you. We just saw an incredible upset. And the grade 2 Bernard Baruch Voodoo Song's perfect record at Saratoga comes to an end. Corbon, who had never won on turf, getting the victory in that race. Our feature race, the grade 1 Hopeful, is next for 2-year-olds, but we saw a pretty impressive 2-year-old earlier on in the card. I don't think they're going to wheel him back this quick, 7 races later, but looked like he had the talent that maybe he could have lined up in the Hopeful.
Yeah, I had heard about this one. Chad said to me, I got a McLean's Music that I'm running on closing day a few weeks ago that can absolutely fly, and this one, he was extremely impressive, 109 3/5.
Yeah, and there's a lot of information that the 7-horse who did come up and run third was the goods, but Complexity ended up being the goods. And McLean's Music, for a lot of people don't know, ran one race and set an unbelievable, I think he's got the record for the one race highest buyer ever for a first-time starter.
He ran his legs off almost.
Yeah,
114 buyer.
Something crazy. And he's turned out some good horses here and there.
Well, he's the sire of Cloud Computing, of course, who Carver Stables and Chad Brown won the Preakness with.
Who, by the way, back in training at Belmont. We're going to see him in the fall, it sounds like.
I love Cloud. Going to hope to see if they can keep him together for the Cigar Mile.
Yeah. Look at the grade field for the grade 1 Hopeful coming up. So Mucho for Bill Motti won this race back in 2007 with Majestic Warrior. Just an incredible performance at 6 furlongs back on August the 4th. So visually impressive as well. And reportedly training very, very strong moving forward.
Trivia. Who was favored against Majestic Warrior? Trained by Bob Baffert, owned by the Zayats. Heavy favorite. Maimonides?
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, he was the heavy favorite in that Hopeful. It's a 4-horse field.
Wow.
Majestic Warriors blew him off the racetrack.
Every once in a blue moon, Bob Baffert does lose here.
Yeah, it's
his last loss, actually.
Yeah, maybe his last loss. Yeah, true.
There is a look at Mucho. Let's take a look at that maiden score we've been talking so much about. He wound up winning by 9 3/4 lengths and not even being asked for much late in the race.
And this was a race they said was loaded. He was crazy impressive. I mean, I'm not sure we saw a more impressive 2-year-old performance the entire meet. He was with the racetrack. He wanted to be outside that day, but I don't care. He delivered in a huge way.
Yeah, you can see Jose right there was like, I'm going to hit him again. Now look back, and the race is over. And it's impressive because Bill's horses usually gradually get better and better. For this horse to make that kind of jump, you're wondering, is the jump now going to be backwards? And I don't know. You know, he's so talented, this horse. And at age 2, it seems like, you know, at least the colts don't take that much step backwards as the fillies can change overnight.
Well, another trainer who's been sensational with his 2-year-olds here at this meet is Steve Asmussen. There you see him. He's got a son of Tappet. Second start of his career came here at Saratoga on opening weekend. He flashed brilliant speed at 5.5 furlongs to win by more than 3 lengths.
He was good. He was very good. If he could build off that performance, he could be a player here. One thing that bothers me is that Steve Asmussen's numbers with his 2-year-olds off maiden wins, they're not that good. They just often don't come back. But he's run well in both of his starts.
Yeah, he has. He should have won first start. He had issues there. This horse can run. I don't know where he sits in this race. If he's going to go to the front end, he could be the speed of the speed. He might have to beat the Greg Sacco horse to the inside. The horse coming in from Monmouth that might have a little bit of lick. But I would think Nitrous has got to get to the front end here and try to get in front of Mucho.
And he is a Tappet. Should like more distance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dealing with that 7-furlong question today for all these runners. Time for a Paddock Report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It is brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Bayern for $15,000.
Thanks, Greg. And we'll take a look at Nitrous, who will likely be the second choice. And here is, he will go out for Steve Asmussen. We heard what Andy just said about the numbers. Yes, that scares me a bit, but viewing Nitrous, I'm a little less apprehensive about him. I mean, he just looks fantastic here. If anything, he's gotten a bit longer and more athletic looking from that last race, and that's what you want to see. And so therefore, I don't think that the 7-furlong jump from the 5.5 will be that big of a deal. He really looks fantastic here, and in the face of even money on Mucho, he's pretty intriguing as he sits at 7-1 currently. Moving on to new faces, including number 2, Mind Control, who is certainly flattered when Paul came back here and won the Saratoga Special, and then he trumped him down at Monmouth with the next fastest buyer relative to Mucho in here. And watching his replays and then reading what Greg Sacco has said, you know, he looks like a smaller horse, but he actually doesn't look that small. There's a lot of substance to him. There's a lot to that somewhat smallish type of frame. So I like that. It's fine. Yes, does 7 furlongs suit him? That's the biggest question mark. But overall, relative to this field, he matches up quite nicely with them. I like the condition that Mind Control comes into here. With number 4, that would be Grand, is going to be a decent price, but does get Irad Ortiz in the irons. And watching this guy's last win back at Laurel Park, he was certainly hitting his best strides late in that 5.5 sprint. And looking at him here, he's one that should relish going to 7 furlongs. A bit more of a longer, even type of frame, not really built downhill of that sprinter variety. And I like what I see from him. And Dale Capuano, when he ships horses up here, they tend to run well. Whether they win or not, yes, I know. But he knows what to bring up here to New York. And then finally, number 5, Dream Maker, who was supposed to run in our Sanford. It's now waited about a month and a half to run in the Hopeful here. And this was the one I was actually most excited about seeing going into that race. Unfortunately scratched that day because his Churchill race really kind of caught my fancy and blew me away because he passed horses. He showed he could rate, and once he got by them, it was impressive. And that's the same kind of vibe I'm getting here. He's a really laid-back type of individual, very long and kind of spindly looking, and he just has the size and maturity that you want to see in a 2-year-old. And with that line in his form, having not run since early June, he looks extremely fit here for Mark Casse, guys, as they are set and ready for this Hopeful.
Oh, there's so many question marks. Who's going to take that step forward here from Mark Casse? It's been no secret. It's been a tough meet for him. He had a stakes win with a 2-year-old filly on the opening day of the meet, but earlier today had a winner in the very first race. Last night, he had a stakes win out at Del Mar, so he may be getting going again.
He sent me a text earlier, and he said, things are so bad here, I had to ship out of Del Mar to win a stakes. But he's kept his sense of humor. No, Mark's a good guy, and he's really kept his sense of humor. I joked with him a little bit earlier today, and he won that race, and he sent me a text saying, hallelujah, after he won. So, you know what? A lot of those seconds will turn into wins down the road.
Absolutely.
And this filly's got a lot of talent. I mean, she was very good first time out, or this colt, excuse me, was very good first time out. And he got bet bag like a good thing, too. He's even money. and he circled the field. Tough to do. I get it, but he did it in style.
And 3 next out winners came out of this race, including the horse who finished third, would win by more than 6 lengths in his next start, and then hit the board in a stake at Woodbine on the turf.
Yeah, very live race. You can see, you like how he's striding out and how he's just getting it done, and he's going to like the extra 7 furlongs. You can tell by his stride, and he might need some pace, though, to run into.
I mean, obviously, from a speed figure standpoint, he's too slow to beat a horse like Mucho, but 2-year-olds can improve very, very quickly in their second starts, especially with added ground.
So our post parade here coming up momentarily. Here's Mind Control moving through the screen for Gregory Sacco. He comes in from Monmouth off an impressive performance, and he should be forwardly placed in here. It just looks like, though, Nitrous absolutely wants to go, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the problem with Mind Control. Mind Control is a very good horse. I mean, he finished second, the Saratoga Special winner, called Paul, as you guys were pointing out. And he comes back with a big win at Monmouth, but now he's going to be under the gun, breaking from inside of the other speeds here. He's the kind of horse, if he drew the outside post, you might think he might be the biggest threat to the favorite.
Yeah, you make a good point there. I guess the 2 and the 3 go, right? I mean...
Well, Dwayne Lucas outside with Derby Day. That horse looks like he wants to go as well. He actually bobbled out of the gate, didn't really have his footing. He still made the lead in that race.
And he lost to a very promising horse named from Mark Valesky, Network Effect, who's pointing the Champagne.
Six has got a little lick, too.
All right, so our post parade here coming up. The Grade 1 hopeful. Dwayne Lucas has dominated this race over the years. 8-time winner in the past. And we're going to kick things off here in a moment with Sombaye. He won his debut at Gulfstream. And then he won the Grade 3 Sanford. This horse, a Keeneland September yearling graduate of 2017.
He certainly could take advantage of a strong pace, but he really needs to get quicker.
9-2 on the board. The 2 is Mind Control for Gregory Sacco, John Velasquez.
Yeah, Greg doesn't ship many in here, and this one does have some talent. The son of Stay Thirsty. Johnny V will be aboard. You're getting 12-1.
Nitrous, appropriately named because he is quick early. Steve Asmussen, trainee. Ricardo Santana Jr. for Winchell Thoroughbreds.
Maggie likes what she saw in the paddock. This is a trainer, though, Steve Asmussen. His 2-year-olds do not regularly come back with stakes win off maiden wins, but he's been good in both races.
That would be grand. He just wanted Laurel stepping up in class to break his maiden for Dale Capuano. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Yeah, a horse that was protected for maiden 40. I don't know how that works. First time out and then came back out and won a maiden special weight, but now waters get deep.
Here's Dream Maker, owned by John Oxley, trained by Mark Cassie and Julian Leperoux aboard.
Looks like the strongest closer in the field, especially if he can improve off a visually impressive maiden win.
Back to his roots, a 2017 Keeneland September sale graduate for John Terranova, off the claimed here at this meet off of Joe Sharp.
And reportedly been working really well since off the claim for John, and John's taking a shot here, and 45-1 maybe worth a look for third or fourth. You're going to play some supers.
The one to beat Mucho for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott, the son of Blame, Claiborne homebred, and Adele Dilschneider with Jose Ortiz in the irons.
He drew very well in this race. He has the tactical speed to put himself in the game, but he doesn't need to lead. If he runs back to his last race or anything close, he's an overlay at 4-5.
Dwayne Lucas, 8-time winner of this race. Luis Saez rides Derby Date in those Calumet Farm Silks.
Yeah, and got back-to-back bullet drills for a son of Will Take Charge, who Dwayne Lucas did train. So Luis Saez is regular rider in the irons.
Grade 1 hopeful is coming up. And here's a look at Mind Control, son of Stay Thirsty for Red Oak Stable, Matacat Stables. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And joined here by his trainer and Greg Sacco with Mind Control. And Greg, he's a horse that faced our Saratoga Special winner in their first start, and he gave him everything he could handle down there at Delaware when he called Paul was a well bet favorite that day.
Yes, they went at it head and head, and it It was a very competitive race. You know, he just outdogged us the last 50 yards. We were about 85% ready, and maybe he was too, but, you know, it was a genuine effort, and we were flattered to see Paul come back and win the Saratoga Special. Same day we broke our maiden at Monmouth.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of a reversal when breaking your maiden. You got to stalk outside, and then he drew away quite nicely.
Yes, and he galloped out great that day. So the 7/8 shouldn't be an issue. He had a super work last week at Monmouth, and all systems ready to go today.
Nice when you can kind of train for owner breeders in Red Oak. And how high were they with this horse when he came into you?
Well, our farm manager, Barry Dolan, liked him from the beginning, and he did everything right and just kept progressing all summer. We gave him enough time between the first race and second race, and that race, the way he popped and the way he galloped out, you know, gave us the confidence to take a shot at a historic race like the Hopeful.
And it's a well-named race, too, because everybody's very hopeful about their young horses. Greg, best of luck, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Maggie, thank you. Mind Control. Double-digit odds here at 12-1, and we'll see if he is quick enough to stay early on in this race with a horse right next door to him in the 3 Nitrous. And the D. Wayne Lucas runner on the outside.
Yeah, you're right. It's a Red Oak stable. Greg's been training for Red Oak for a long time. And this one a homebred. Yeah, you know, he is talented, but he does draw a little in a weird spot considering the 3 is right on the outside of him, the speed.
It's just a very tough spot to break inside so much speed because your hand is forced. And you hate to take horse out of their game in Grade 1 races, and I just don't really know what options he has. Now, I think he's a very talented horse. And really, so far, I would say he's the second fastest horse behind Mucho. I just don't know that he can get a kind of trip that'll be favorable. And Mucho had such an advantage drawing outside.
Well, the man who owns this race, the coach, the legendary D. Wayne Lucas, 8 times, spanning from 1990 to 2017 last year, with Sporting Chance, who ducked out in the stretch and was still able to hang on and win. He has dominated in this spot. Now he has a horse who is still a maiden, but showed a lot of promise last start.
I'm still bitter that a maiden of his named Success Express, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in 1987, did not win the Hopeful. He ran in there as a Hopeful, I believe even her second.
Wow. Andy,
I'm
get over
holding on to that for 31 years.
Let it go.
Does he know that?
I don't think he cares.
Today's the last day to earn a winner's bonus on a Saratoga Stakes on Naira Bets. Bet a $1 trifecta on the Naira Bets app on the Hopeful, and you'll score a 10% winner's bonus. The app available in the App Store or for Android on NairaBets.com. Well, Sombaye for Todd Pletcher. Gave him a stakes victory on the opening Saturday of the meet, and it seems like no one's talking about this horse.
Yeah, it does, right? You know, this horse does have 2 wins, does have a Grade 3 win, probably the most polished horse when it comes to the most races. Second choice, getting somewhat not disrespected, but, you know, Pletcher's going to get bet here, but his meet hasn't been the greatest, let's be honest.
I think he's too slow, but he does have the right running style, because this is a race that could get hungry in the stretch. And we've seen it in some races. You know, these stakes and horses come in with flashy figures, and they don't run back to it. The Del Mar debutante the other day, the spin away, a lot of horses in there didn't run back to impressive wins before that. These 2-year-olds are developing, and the thing about Sombaye has is he does have that experience, and he has a running style that could very much fit this race. Now, Mucho may win, but he's the kind of horse that could easily be second. Just a lot of the flashier horses don't show up with their best race today. Maybe 6 months from now or even 3 months from now, the others will be better than him. But in this race, his experience could really help.
Everyone thought back on the West Coast, Brill was a superstar in the making. He gets beat out at Del Mar. Not to say this, whoever wins this race may not be the best horse come springtime next year, but you don't have to be for today.
Well, I mean, the winner of the Frisette, Separation of Powers, and she won our test, she came in as a huge favorite in last year's Spinaway, the 2-year-old filly, right? And she bombed. But she was a good horse. But sometimes those second races and off a big win, she had a huge maiden win here last year. These 2-year-olds are interesting. I've talked to Andy Beyer about this, about figures and sometimes why they don't run as well in the next start. I don't really know the answer, but it happens time and time again. And I think the bottom for Sombaye kind of helps him in that respect, right?
Can D. Wayne Lucas get a 9th win in this race? Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale for more.
Wouldn't that be something, Greg, as he does send out the lone maiden in this hopeful field in number 8, Derby Date. And the 2 times I've seen him, he just did not look fit. And Wayne has even said that in interviews, that he feels as though that now he finally has him fit. Look, I don't love 2-year-olds making this many starts up here at Saratoga, but I have to say that he has raced him into fitness, and he knows what he's doing. As you just said, Greg, searching for the 9th win here in this race, and he is a good-looking customer, this son of Will Take Charge.
Yeah, he does make a striking appearance here, and yeah, you don't see that often. Yeah, there were 4 horses to ever sweep the 2-year-old stakes here. The last to do it was City Zip for Linda Rice. I believe it was back in 2000.
That sounds about right. Tahir did it.
Making 3 starts as a 2-year-old at the meet, you don't see that very often anymore. Derby Date is doing that here.
A dogwood horse did it, whose name escapes me right now. Tahir was very exciting. Now, City Zip also dead heated with Yanagushka.
Still counts as a win.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
Dwayne Lucas.
Yeah, he was a cool horse, City Zip, and a terrific sire.
There's Mucho in those Adele Dilschneider silks, owned, of course, as well, and bred in part by Claiborne Farm. Hey, look, absolutely the horse to beat. Does he even need to be as good as he was last start to win?
No, he probably doesn't. That's the thing. He could step back and still win, and he drew well towards the outside. But they run races. Look at Voodoo Song. I mean, who would have thought he would finish as badly as he did in there? They run races for a reason.
They better not let that little gray get away, though.
You take nothing for granted.
The nickname of this racetrack came up and bit everybody in the Bernard Baruch. Will it happen again here in the hopeful? Mucho, the one to beat for Claiborne Farm and Adele Dilschneider. Here's Larry Colmus with the call.
Last one coming up to line here is Derby Date. Goes in. They're all in line. They're off in the hopeful. Nitrous comes out sharply with Mind Control for the early lead. And Mucho is away running in 3rd to the outside of them. Then Derby Date and Sombaye to the inside. And moving up in between horses is Back to His Roots. Dreammaker is second last early on. That Would Be Grand is the trailer as Nitrous and Mind Control go at it through the first furlongs here. Stride for stride with Mucho a length and a half behind them. The first quarter mile in 22.96 seconds. Sombaye is 4th on the inside, 2.5 lengths off the lead. And then comes Derby Date, followed by Back to His Roots. Dreammaker is pinned in on the inside with 5 lengths to make up, moving for the far turn. The trailer is That Would Be Grand. So they make their way around the turn. It is still Mind Control and Nitrous and Mucho edging up to them on the outside. The 3 of them now race across the track, a 45.68 half mile. Then Derby Date on the outside, Sombaye being roused to go. Back to His Roots is in between horses. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Mind Control, Nitrous, and Mucho turn for home across the track in the hopeful. It is Mind Control, Mucho on the far outside, Nitrous in between those 2. Sombaye is 4th. 3 of them still going at it. Mind Control, Nitrous, and Mucho. They continue to race across the track, and Mind Control is clinging to the lead. Mucho on the outside is second best to Mind Control in the hopeful. And then came Nitrous and Sombaye.
Red Oak Stable, Matacat Stables, Gregory Sacco, and John Velasquez, a son of Stay Thirsty. Mind Control with the upset in the hopeful.
We talked about the beginning of this race, what was going to happen, and Ricardo Santana decided that he wanted to lay off the 3, and he let the 2 sort of get to the front end here, and the 2 just ran his eyeballs out.
Yeah, I mean, he got away with a fairly moderate pace for this quality, but to be the inside speed, Mucho looked like he was poised to go by at any time. This is a very, very nice win for a very talented runner. An excellent horse race, by the way. But Mind Control, he won it fair and square. Mucho ran well. I don't want to knock him, but Mind Control was the best today.
There you see Greg Sacco and his son right in front of him, and they got to be pumped for this Kentucky bred by Stay Thirsty. Wow, what a win for Greg.
Down on the fence, kind of battling on his own there as Nitrous and Mucho went at it to his outside, and this horse just had no quit in him.
You know, you could see, I think Ricardo was thinking, okay, I got to beat the 7. I got to beat the 7. Wait a second. The 2's getting away here. And Mind Control just sort of ran away from this group. In the last quarter for a 2-year-old in about 12 and change, I know they come great, but still shade under 123 on this racetrack for a 2-year-old.
And this might have helped Mind Control a little bit as well. Derby Date, outside speed for Dwayne Lucas. Keep your eyes on the 8. He stumbled out of the gate last time, and he did it again today.
Yeah, he did. But I'd like to go back to the pan view, and here's the decision to go back to the pan view that Ricardo Santana decided to make. Like, do you want to go to the front end or not? he broke sharper than Mind Control and decided, you know what, you go to the lead, I'll stalk you, and didn't work.
Mind Control upset score in the Grade 1 hopeful. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And a very emotional young Sacco here,
Yeah.
Greg. Oh my gosh, this is quite a win. Mind Control, he controlled this race. He was so awesome.
Yeah, you know, we left it up to Johnny. Our initial plan was to let the 3 go, but, you know, he had great position, and he had a lot of horse when he asked him.
And when you can get Johnny V, how important is that in a Grade 1 here at Saratoga?
You know, he's the best of the best and a class act, and, you know, Johnny's the ultimate athlete, and it showed what he can do.
Greg, is it sunk in yet that you've won the Grade 1 hopeful?
No, it's my first Grade 1. You know, I'm the son of a trainer. My uncles were trainers, and they never won a Grade 1, and we're, you know, fortunate and blessed and overwhelmed.
Greg, I actually can empathize for really much with you right now. Go get your horse. Congratulations. What a big win here for Greg. I couldn't be happier for these guys.
Well, what a moment. And what a victory. And now you start dreaming big.
Yeah, you do, right? I mean, supposed to now run 3 times and has run well at all 3 racetracks. And you hear Greg saying this is his first Grade 1 win, and you got to be just ecstatic. And Johnny V aboard, and it was impressive. Very impressive. And to stave off a couple really nice horses that have been well touted in Nitrous and Mucho, and he put them away pretty easily.
And Mucho in defeat. Still winds up second here in this spot, and don't count this horse out.
No, of course not. There you see Mind Control, Son of State Thirsty. Yeah, the Lightning and Thunder mare fill that fire for Madacat Stables, and again, Red Oak. Johnny V, another pick 3, that's $1,400. If you went price shopping on closing day at Saratoga, you're looking good. This is what I was talking about. Watch the start. The 3 outbreaks the 2 completely. Now, Ricardo Santana can get to the front end. The rider on the 2 is not pushing to get to the front end at all. Ricardo Santana decides, you know what? I am going to rate here. It was the wrong move. The 2 pushes right up inside of him. He's got position. He could go to the front end, and the rider on the 2 goes, okay, you don't want it? Johnny V goes, I'll take it very nicely. Bye-bye. Race is over.
So Mind Control win at Monmouth after debuting at Delaware Park, and now comes to the big leagues at Saratoga and wins a Grade 1. Hey. What a performance. As you see Mucho there crossing the line second. Nitrous winds up third. Late pick 5 follow along. It has been massive numbers throughout, and amazingly, there's only, I believe, the 8 and the 11 that nobody has in the Naira Bets late pick 5.
The Sharpies came out for closing day, huh? So there's only 2 horses that carry over.
No.
Well, don't carry over. They're 4 out of 5 because you got to pay out. You're right.
Yep.
And the 8 and the 11 got no shot. Well, yeah, no shot.
Apparently didn't bet.
Gregory Sacco, Red Oak Stable, John Velasquez, Mind Control, Grade 1 winner, and an important race for 2-year-olds. And they're now thinking Breeders' Cup and beyond with this incredible moment. We'll be back. We still have the nightcap to come here on closing day.
Eclipse champion Blaine is having a breakout year in 2018. Among the nation's leading sires of stakes horses, his recent top runners include Fault, Maraud, Marley's Freedom, Beyond Blame, and Miss Kentucky. He's also making a name for himself internationally with French Classic winner Singman. And with yearlings bringing up to $350,000, this 3-time Grade 1 winner offers outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
watching Saratoga Live, and the last Grade 1 of this Saratoga season is in the books. A Grade 1 hopeful, won by Mind Control, and aboard John Velasquez. Johnny, what a ride. You commanded this race from the get-go. Was that your intention, obviously, from that inside post?
Well, you know, post inside, like you said, and then I was talking to Gregory. I'm going to come out run and get a position where I think he's happy if he's doing it easy, and the other horse doesn't want to take the lead. If I'm in the lead, it'll be great, though. And it just worked out that way, man. I know he was more worried about the horses outside, which had more speed than my horse. And once he sat where he was, and we kind of settled pretty easy in the backstretch, so we could kind of give it a little chance to our horses. But once I got to the 3/8 pole and I started getting after him, and he responded right away. And down the quarter pole, when I asked him, he put a really good fight. So I'm very proud of him.
I was going to say, and not knowing this horse, what do you do when you're in a big race like this? I mean, do you just kind of feel the horse out pre-race as much as you can?
It's about what the horse is telling you. You know, you want to feel what's underneath of you, though. You know, and basically that's what all my life has been doing. It's just what the horse is telling you. You got to feel what he's telling you, what he's doing it easy, or you rushing a little too much. So you go for that feeling, and I guess it worked for me.
Well, Johnny, you've won the first Grade 1 of this meet, and now the last. Congrats on a pretty nice stakes wins of Saratoga.
Thank you very much.
Always nice to catch up with you as well, Johnny. All right, guys, as a good friend of mine was calling him the 5-star general, Johnny V, up in the irons for this Grade 1 hopeful.
Thank you.
Hall of Famer, the all-time leading rider in the history of this racetrack. As you look at Greg Sacco, but just an absolute class act as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's always good to see Johnny win. We've seen him win a lot of big races over the years and did everything right in that race. I mean, he didn't want to go too aggressively. If the 3 had wanted to go aggressively, he could have let that one go and tried to get around him. He didn't really want to go, so he stayed in the spot, and that's why he's John Velasquez.
One more still to come. And then we close things out here for Saratoga 2018. $40,000 maiden claiming event for New York breds, 1 mile over the inner turf Lady Camille. Current favorite here for Michelle Nevin. And if this one were to win, Naira Betts late pick 5 is coming back 63,000 and change.
Wow.
2 sprints stretching out.
I picked her thinking she'd be like 6-7 to 1 here. I wouldn't go near her at 3 to 1.
We'll talk more through this field coming up in just a little bit. Our show brought to you in part each and every day by champion sprinter Run Happy. We've appreciated Run Happy and their people's support in bringing you this program each and every day of the meet. What a tremendous sprinter he was. Never lost sprinting and did it all while running without the addition of Lasix medication. King's Bishop winner and set a track record in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Keeneland. We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm. Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 mile at Keeneland, then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. His runners include stakes winner Star Doza, along with a growing list of talented young runners. At public auction, his yearlings have sold up to $200,000. Data Link, standing at Claiborne Park.
They're off. And here comes Spirit Animal up to them. Spirit Animal has taken the lead. And they're coming down to the line. And here's number 41 for Chad Brown, the record breaker. Spirit Animal won it.
The new all-time record for victories at this historic race meet goes to Chad Brown, number 41 for the reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer. This has got to be a very special moment.
Yes, my mom and dad are here, my brother, my nephew, my sister-in-law, everyone's here, so it's just a good feeling to do it here at home.
Raging Bull is let loose on the far outside. Here's Raging Bull on the outside of up the ante. Raging Bull to the front. Raging Bull wins the Saranac. Sipacan Harbor and Cassie's Dreamer at the back of the pack. Sipacan Harbor is closing down the center of the track as well. Here comes Sipacan Harbor. Sipacan Harbor, she's the real deal. She won the Spinaway.
And to win one at Saratoga on this stage is amazing.
Yoshida is closing with a rush on the far outside, and here comes Yoshida, and Yoshida has taken the lead under Joel Rosario. Leofric is second on the inside. Yoshida has won the Woodward.
It was a matter of fishing around and getting a little spot to open up, so he could have a clean run through the stretch, which he did, and he looked like, coming to the wire, he was just cruising.
Lady Mondor every step of the way so far. Lady Mondor trying to get another furlong here. And on the outside is Lady Mondor. She's going to go every step of the way in the Glens Falls, winning it by 3 lengths on the wire. Right up with them is Dream Tree in fourth by a length and a half. Dream Tree on the outside. Mia Mischief along the rail. They'll turn for home together. Dream Tree has taken the lead here. Taking off from Mia Mischief late. Dream Tree comes back strong under Mike Smith in the Prioress.
She gave me goosebumps, to be honest with you. I've never ridden her in the afternoon. I was fortunate enough to work her one morning, so I knew she was really talented. I didn't realize she was this talented.
Well, incredible weekend of stakes action in the final weekend of the meet here. Raging Bull for Chad Brown. And how about that moment for Gary Contessa with Sipacan Harbor in the Spinaway? He thought this was a turf horse all along. Race got washed off the turf. Horse wins by 17 lengths and decided to put that horse in the Spinaway because of it.
Well, Big Brown won his 3-year-old debut when a race got washed off the turf, so sometimes fortuitous things happen.
Yeah. Mike Smith actually getting goosebumps. Saying he's getting goosebumps is crazy considering the horses he's ridden the last 2 years for Bob Baffert.
Incredible. And by the way, Sipacan Harbor may train up to the Breeders' Cup now, potentially. Our finale. Lady Camille's price getting even lower, 5-2. 2 sprints on turf now stretching out from Michelle Nevitt, Manny Franco from the inside. But there are a lot of ways to go in this race.
Yeah, I think the public's thinking, okay, the 2's going to be the horse to catch, and she probably will be coming out of those sprint races. But here's the worry with her. She's not a great gate horse, at least sprinting. She has been left twice, basically flat-footed the other time out of 3 starts.
Meanwhile, there's the 10 Grand Banks. This was the morning line favorite in here for Jeremiah Engelhardt. But do you want to take 7-2 on a horse who was 0 for 21?
No, actually I don't.
Yeah. I'll pass.
I take Sardonyx, the other David Donk. David Donk used to have Grand Banks. Sardonyx had real trouble. The last time Sardonyx ran turf was June 27th at Belmont. And the chart caller, who does a fantastic job here, missed it. She was badly blocked in the late stages of that race, and it cost her any chance. We'll show it. Judge for yourself. She's in the blue. She's behind horses. And you can see that IRT is sort of searching for a seam. The eventual winner is the horse with the pink cap outside of her at this point. And IRAD's trying to find room. It's tough to go between horses. The 3-horse drifts over, and you're going to see IRAD have to put the brakes on. And I'm not saying she would have won, but she was running on par with the eventual winner at that point. It certainly cost her any chance she had there.
Definitely cost her a placing there. And it seems like the blinkers have put her in the ballgame a lot more. And I like that she actually, the race was off the turf. Donk's horses have been firing. And she didn't run much, but she showed some speed on the dirt and might sharpen her up going back on the turf today.
Here's our favorite, Lady Camille. Inside post, should have speed from getting out of there and stretching out. Might be the one to catch in here as well. It's time for a Paddock Report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
And again, we see Lady Camille taking some early money here from her inside draw and stretching out to the mile here from the 5.5 distance. And look, she's a bit on the smaller side, and for me that usually says, well, sprinter, but she has evened out a bit in her frame, and one of the most fit times I've seen her appear here for Michelle, so there's a little bit of upside to her. And look, she's also one of the ones in here that has had the least amount of chances, and you're always going to kind of gravitate to those in these older maiden claimers. Moving on to the outside, jumping inside and out here is number 12, Sunshine Gal, making her first start for Danny Gargan, as well as first start on the turf. And despite not having that much turf pedigree to write home about, actually looks as though she may handle it here. My biggest fear with her is the fitness and the layoff. She could look a little more tucked up overall through her barrel, and kind of just looking at her, she's just a little bit soft around the edges. As just taking a look at a bomb in here, Sophie N, she caught my eye. I can't exactly say why, but she did. And, you know, her turf start, it was in a maiden claimer. It's not much to recommend by that. But physically, overall, she really does look good here. So we'll see. Kind of grasping at straws here in this finale, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. That was our last Paddock Report of the meet.
Really?
It's a tearful moment.
So thank
Can I
you
have
to
a hug,
Maggie
Paul?
Wolfendale. No.
Maggie's, seriously, we work together. Maggie kills it.
Absolutely.
She kills it every day.
And her husband, they've had a tremendous run over the past month or so with the Tom Morley runners, a couple of stakes wins. We look at our Saratoga Showdown online contest numbers, and we know a race like this coming up, anything can happen.
True. You could be tied for 6. You 219 the blame.
Sam the Bugler, Sam Grossman, 25 years of service here in the New York Racing Association circuit. Been entertaining fans for a quarter of a century, and this is it. His last call to post coming up before he retires and heads off to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So we get a look here at the 9, Forever Rising. Blinkers coming off here for Abigail Adsit, and this one getting back to turf has not been there for a long time. Didn't run all that bad in the only 3 turf tries that she's had.
I don't disagree. She's run okay in her turf races. She was in Rudy Rodriguez's barn at that time, and she's in a barn that's not having a particularly good year. Having said that, I agree. The turf races are okay.
And a price here at 13-1. Dylan Davis will be aboard that son of Go Zappers. We look at the 12 here, and this one, the intriguing kind of new face, because this horse has never been on the turf before. 3 sprints, all on dirt, all at Aqueduct, now with Danny Gargan.
It was very good with his maiden special weights and maiden claimers, new acquisitions, everything above. And he got a chance to work this horse over the turf. So I think he knows what he has. She's getting played a little bit.
He has no turf pedigree, though, on the dam side.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back. Our nightcap post-parade coming up when we return here on Saratoga Live, the finale of the meet. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Sam Grossman, that is it after 25 years of entertaining the fans here in the New York circuit, calling it a career. Congratulations known to Sam the Bugler. Great moment there as he is off into retirement in Florida. Here's our post-parade as we kick things off here with Handle with Care. I actually like this runner with Junior Alvarado for Bruce Brown.
Definitely has a chance in this race. Showed speed his only time on the turf in a race that collapsed against much better horses.
Lady Camille, our favorite for Michelle Nevin.
The one to catch here, too, this filly by Desert Party. She's got to get out of the gate, though.
Crater Rim, Julian Leperoux aboard for John Pregman Jr.
She's on the fringes of being a player here, and she drew well towards the inside.
16-1 on Spiral Bound with Luis Saez.
A horse that's shown some lick going short, or I mean, at least tried to show the lick last time. I think we'll show lick today.
Contender Sardonyx for David Donk.
I think she's actually the horse to beat based on the troubles she's had. She's run well enough in her races to say she can win this for sure.
Long shot here, 22-1. Low is Lane for Gary Siaka. He had a winner earlier on the card.
Yeah, he did. A horse that was 1 for 20 some on Lifetime. So this filly by Clark Lane going to try to shock the world.
Sophie and Abel Liscano.
She looks a little overmatched.
Protect the King for Leo O'Brien.
Last time on turf was 148-1.
That horse wins 4 out of 5, paying the Naira Bets late pick 5. Forever Rising, blinkers off. Abigail Adsit
has back turf form that could definitely win this, but from a different barn.
Jeremiah Englehart sends out Grand Banks the 10.
The one to beat, you know, but the thing is she's lost at 3 to 5 and 85 cents on the dollar.
One Wise Lady the 11. Another one that would pay 4 out of 5 in the Naira Bets late pick 5.
Has shown nothing on the dirt and doesn't have much turf pedigree.
And Sunshine Gal getting on turf, reportedly had a very good drill over the grass.
I would think you'd see speed out of this great filly by Congrats.
6-1, intriguing for Danny Gargan. So that is your field here for this last race of this 2018 Saratoga meeting. And there's Sam the Bugler. Nailed it, going out on his final call to post.
Well done. I'm with you. He drilled it.
So look at Handle with Care.
That's your long shot selection. The get out for the meet horse, Greg.
I do like this horse. Look,
he's not impossible.
Yeah, the only time on the turf was against Better. So off that is dropping, showed pace in that race. This should be an easier field to try and handle. But here's Lady Camille, who, if that horse had any intent on going to the lead, going to have to deal with this one.
Yeah, I agree. That horse could be pressing, but Lady Camille is faster. But Lady Camille has to break. I agree with Paul. She got left last time and lost all chance. She is way overbet Lady Camille at 5-2. This is silly. And I picked her. I never even dreamt that she could be favored here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get that the public is thinking she's going to get to the front end, but I'm warning. I watched all 3 races. She doesn't like the gate. She breaks a tiny bit flat-footed. She has to get out of the gate and get to the front end of this group.
Meanwhile, the 12... Ricardo Santana Jr. for Danny Gargan here. Turf debut and
wow, this horse is
stretching out.
Post 12, going a mile, has no turf pedigree. I'll tell you something else. Well, you know, maybe there's a big story. 5 horses tried the turf from this dam. None of them won, and they're good dirt horses. Charlie Baker had this horse. Charlie Baker's a very good trainer. Danny Gargan's a great job as well, but it's not as though Danny Gargan's getting this from some guy who's 1 for 100. He's getting it from one of the better trainers in the Naira circuit. 6-1 from post 12. Good luck.
For more on this race, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Little interested in the horse that you guys were talking about as a little bit of a price. Number 1, Handle with Care. For trainer Bruce Brown. You know, last time I thought, or I should say 2 starts back in the lone turf try, thought that maybe could look a little stronger behind the saddle. And the thing is, she has done that. She has moved forward. She gets the class relief on what is her preferred surface. So I get it here. I get it with the 1. I think she's very dangerous as well, but she has gotten a little bit hot on track. Then again, most of them have here, and I agree with you. The short prices on some of these makes you scratch your head. I think you're better off taking a long price in here. At the end of the day, I think it's just going to be more rewarding.
7-1, Handle with Care. And Junior Alvarado, very, very good on the grass.
Got a good meet.
Technically dropping in class from the last time that she was on the turf. Now 8-1.
It's a good price. I mean, it really is. And, like, I can understand where you're going there. As you see, Maggie's got hers on the 1. And we both like the 2 a little bit, but not a 2-1.
No, this is silly. I mean, she's got to stretch out. You know what Michelle Nevin's record is stretching out in turf? 1 for 31. Michelle Nevin, in my opinion, is one of the best trainers in the circuit. That's a terrible gamble. I'm embarrassed I picked the horse.
We're embarrassed for you.
Even if she wins, I'm going to be embarrassed, and you should be embarrassed.
You and Paul together on this one. But look, you have to put these selections in before we know what the odds are. Now, having looked at the board,
I would never bet this horse. I would change my pick. I would have picked Sardonyx over your horse, the 1, Handle with Care. One of those 2.
Sardonyx, the 5, the 1, Handle with Care. We seem to all think this 1 has a legitimate shot here at a price.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
From a value standpoint as well. And sometimes you say in a race like this, it's wide open, let the board be your friend and
100%.
Take value. And certainly lies there with Handle with Care. The 1 horse in this spot. There's a few others as well.
As a horse player, you will make more money betting your 3rd choice when they go off at 12 or 15-1 than just blindly betting your top choice regardless of price.
This is it. The final race of the meet from Saratoga. Let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
Sunshine Gal will be the last one to go in. Steps up. They're all in line. They're off. Sunshine Gal fires out of that outside stall to take the lead. Sophie N goes with her. It's these 2 with Lady Camille away running in 3rd. Handle with Care is 4th on the outside. Grand Banks is 5th. Then Protect the King, followed on the outside by One Wise Lady as they make their way into that turn. Spiral Bound saves all the ground there, a length and a half in front of Crater Rim. Then we come back to the trailers, Lois Lane and Forever Rising. So Sophie Ann is taking charge here through a 24.23 quarter, leads by 3/4 of a length. Sunshine Gal on the outside, tracks in 2nd position by 2. Handle with Care is outside of Lady Camille, heads apart 3rd and 4th. And then it's Protect the King, Grand Banks on the outside. And just in behind them is One Wise Lady, Spiral Bound, and Sardonyx. And then it's Crater Rim, followed by Lois Lane and Forever Rising. They complete the first half in 48.82 seconds and move for the far turn. Sophie Ann on top. The lead is a length and a half. And now Sunshine Gal comes after her. Once again, the 2 of them hook up into the far turn. And then it's Lady Camille running along in 3rd position. Crater Rim is 4th on the outside. Handle with Care is 4th now on the outside. And Grand Banks is going up 3 wide. And then comes Protect the King, followed by Sardonyx. And they're coming to the top of the stretch. And it is Sophie Ann off the turn in front. Sunshine Gal on the outside moves up alongside. Lady Camille is down toward the rail. Handle with Care is in the center, and then it's Grand Banks. It's Sunshine Gal. Sunshine Gal and Ricardo Santana Jr. come to the final 16th in front. Handle with Care is 2nd. Grand Banks on the outside 3rd. They're coming down to the line, and it's Sunshine Gal. And she won it by 3.5 lengths. And then it was Grand Banks, followed by Crater Rim and Handle with Care as we say goodbye to the spa.
Sunshine Gal transitioning, trying the turf for the first time for the new trainer. Danny Gargan gets the win.
They knew, Andy. They bet this horse. She broke sharply, and she stalked nicely, and the race was over. The 1 ran a good race here. I thought is going to get ripped here for 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. I think
for third too.
Yeah, the 3 might have ran her down for a third. Yeah, it's close.
Yeah,
but
they knew.
Yeah, they knew.
Off 5.5 months. First time in the turf. Not particularly bred for grass. Post 12.
Strong angle.
It was all there. I don't know how I missed this horse.
Right?
7 to 1.
Give
Well,
me the dunce cap.
Had to work on the turf and reportedly was pretty strong.
Yeah, what does pick 5 pay? This pick 5 had to be giant. I mean, listen, it's all $20 horses, and then you got to find this horse, and another $16 winner here. But the gray was a blur in the stretch here.
63,000 plus in the Naira Bets late pick 5. We'll be back with prices right after this. Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard for the winning ride. Is Maggie Wolfendale going to give us one more interview? I believe she is. Stay tuned.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Phoenix has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Back on Saratoga Live, our final race of this meet is in the books. And it goes to a horse trying the turf for the first time. Sunshine Gout, Ricardo Santana Jr., couple of wins for him on closing day. And wins in the new barn, moving to Danny Gargan's barn.
Yeah, Philly by congrats at the Hare Mare. We were talking about the Hare a little bit earlier. Morning Sun, the New York, bred in New York for Diamond M Stable, and won pretty nicely, too.
$17 winner to close it out. That pick 4, $7,522. 12-10-3-1, by the way, finishing there.
Pick 4 is monster.
And the Naira Bets late pick 5, $63,628.
Great handicap, and it really is, because you had to come up with a 1 for 20 some odd horse to start. Cecilia Mike was, hold on, I'll tell you right now, 1 for 27. Give yourself some props if you hit that.
Pick 6, by the way, $110,122. Naira Bets late pick 5, follow along massive today in the final day of the meet. We knew there was going to be one more big one. Right. There's no way I could have had it. Jockey standings, Irad Ortiz Jr. started out strong and stayed that way. Yeah. Never did he relinquish first place.
I think you might be right. I think he was gate to wire, because Jose and Javier, who picked it up late, finished second and third. And how about Chad Brown? He would finish second in the jockey standings.
It's incredible.
It's unreal.
Set a new record for wins when he got number 41. Padded that stat to get 46. I think this one might stand for a little while.
Tough one to beat. I mean, you're talking about winning more than one race a day. That is not easy.
Who came through in the Saratoga Showdown standings? Two-way tie atop, and Sloan J, so close.
Goodness.
So close.
Fucking a quarter.
Wow.
Well done to everybody who participated in the contest. Thanks for playing. Thanks for watching to everybody all season long. What was your favorite moment of the meet, Paula Duke?
For me, it was Catholic Boy. It really was, because I think we're going to have a trainer that's having his coming out party against Jonathan Thomas. I love the way he handled the horse. He talked to Maggie before he went into the Travers, basically saying, listen, I'm backing up on this horse because I sort of know what I got, and I'm going to let him do the running in the afternoon. And boy, he decimated this group, and it gives me chills to watch him run because he's a Grade 1 winner on turf. He's a Grade 1 winner on dirt. And I just think he's a special horse that's going to go farther and farther. But I think what I wanted to get more across, I think Jonathan Thomas is going to become an elite trainer for a long time.
A good trainer, for sure.
Yeah.
A couple of horses who at this meet became Grade 1 winners on turf and dirt. Horse you just saw there, and of course Yoshida as well. Andy, your favorite moment?
I mean, sometimes moments are about personal situations as well as great races. And the Test this year was a tremendous race. And for me, it was just a very satisfying race. I've been a big fan of Separation of Powers, and it's nice to see friends do well also. And this was just a thrilling race, a great race. And seeing Separation of Powers showed so much promise. The 2-year-old had an injury, comes back, she stumbles at the start of a return, the victory ride, loses all chance, and comes back and delivers in this race. It was just a very meaningful, very happy moment for me in Saratoga. So that was my favorite moment.
And I thought it was one of the best stretch duels the entire meet as well.
Yeah, me and Mischief was
Especially a
not
big race.
dealing away that day. That was pretty cool.
Check in with Maggie Wolfendale for her favorite moment.
Well, obviously, the two that you guys brought up, they were pretty memorable. And from a personal standpoint, winning the Yaddo with La Moneda for my husband, Tom Morley. But I think one of the most impressive performances we saw was from Imperial Hint. He is small, but he is mighty, and boy, did he decimate this field. He went by these sprinters like they were standing still, and let me tell you, they were flying up front, and he will go down as one of the horses, actually the only horse, to refuse an interview with me post-race while I was aboard Jaeger, and I love doing those, but he did not want any part of Jaeger and I getting close to him, and he is quite the sprinter as we head forward to the Breeders' Cup. Looking forward to seeing him in that Breeders' Cup sprint after this Vanderbilt win. But Greg, what was your favorite memory from this very memorable 2018 meeting?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many that we don't even have time to bring up, but my favorite moment, we saw him run today, and he became a favorite of mine last summer when he raced and won here 4 times, Voodoo Song. First time that had ever been done since the 1950s. And then when he gets his Grade 1 in the 4-star Dave, this to me was just an incredible moment, setting these blazing fractions, opening up 5 lengths on this field, and then digging in and holding off a Grade 1 field. Horse won as a $40,000 claimer last summer. Every win, he got better and better and jumped up in class. Won a Grade 3 at the end of the meet last year, and then he became a Grade 1 winner. It was the first Grade 1 win for his owners, the Schwartzes. So that, to me, was one of my favorite moments all meet long. Tremendous. Unfortunately, didn't bring his A game today. He got beat in the Bernard Baruch, but still, he's a special performer. As you see, Catholic Boyd, Robert LaPenta Silks there in the canoe. They'll be there all summer long and through the fall and spring until we come back here next summer. Next show is going to be Belmont Park Live. That will be on Friday, September 7th, 4 Eastern Time. Saratoga Live in the books. What an upset. Saratoga known as the graveyard of champions. Corbon proving that. Mind Control and the hopeful as well. See everybody on Friday at Belmont.